Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up loud. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's Monday. Like I needed to tell you that. What's going on, all you scallywags, nutmeggers, conversationalists, dequat avoiders? You know what time it is. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. Kilma Abrego Garcia going to Uganda. Wow. Going to Uganda. Show you how stupid the people who represent him are. They're going to send him to a country to a place where he doesn't even speak their language. They speak English there. And Abrego speaks English well. His press conference, all of a sudden, he no speak English. Which we thought was funny since we all watched a police dash cam video or police camera video where he's talking about where he's sending the migrants. Oh, no, I take them to my house. Yeah. No, we just driving. We go to Maryland. We'll go to my house, okay? I got to get back there because I got to beat up my wife. It's been like 4 days. 4 days. I haven't beat her up yet. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. God bless that bozo. Have fun in Uganda. I understand that Zoran Mamdani is from there. Perhaps, he can visit some family there. Well, whatever. I don't want to get into that. I got plenty of news and plenty of views to get into today. It is bittersweet being back here in my studio because from what I realized last week, I have to do this there. And I had a good conversation with my friend and yours, Craig in the car. And he feels like this is very intimate. But I have to be in Connecticut doing it. He likes this format. He is one of the avid watchers of the show online. I want to keep this experience for those of you who do watch it online. It's a radio show as well as a television broadcast. I got plenty of people who actually watch on their living room TV. And I provide video sound bites and video bites as well as audio sound bites to the show. And it's an element that they enjoy and they like to witness themselves. So it's new media. It's taking the old and incorporating the new and some of the old because television's still old. But it's bringing all of it together. And so I still want to do that. We're working it out. We also found out let's just say we found out some really good news. And I think the good folks at WTIC may be really, really excited about this news. And that is, they may not have to put us up. They had planned on doing something for us to hook us up for 2 months. That may not be necessary. And what may also be good news is that Reese on the radio and Roseanne on the radio may be coming early. It won't be November if things go out. From what we heard today, it looks like October will be our arrival. But we will get to you. I promise we'll let you know in the coming weeks. If not, it'll be November, but we are solid on that date, November. But it could be earlier. We got a lot of work to do, folks. So the earlier I get there, the better. And that's going to be great because Roland said that I am back in my genie bottles. When I'm not there, he misses me. He likes my physical presence inside the studio. You wouldn't know it much, but he tells me that after I leave. He's a cold son of a gun. Didn't tell me that he misses me. When he tells me he misses me, he goes, "Hey, you back in your genie bottle again?" Thanks, Roland. I miss you too. But it's good to be back just in this platform because I'm comfortable here, but we're going to take care of that in due course. On today's program, I need to talk to you about Democrats. I haven't covered a lot of national news as of yet. We've had a lot of local stuff. But I want to begin today by talking about some of the national news about Democrats and this new report about him losing so many registered voters. But I have to tease something, and I will not make you wait for it. Are you aware of Newington Mayor John Trister and his comments about the arrest of 7 individuals at a local car wash? Well, I called his town manager, Jonathan Altschul, today. And for some odd reason, he and I got into a shouting match over the phone, which I will disclose to you. My wife said to me first, "Did you record it?" And I said, "I could have, but I didn't want to." But I do want to say this to Jonathan because I know you're listening. Once you know where I am, you're sitting there waiting by there. Hi, welcome to the show. You'll be back because you're going to love every bit of it. Don't ever suggest, because you don't even know me, but don't ever suggest that I have an interest in spinning your comments. I have no interest in spinning what you say. I want to know what you think, and I want to hear it directly from your mouth and the mayor's mouth. I don't need to spin what you say. Here's the news flash, Jonathan Altschul. I know you're going to say something ridiculous. It needs no spin. And in a little bit, I'll explain exactly how ridiculous your response was. And if you did record it, I hope you share it with your boss, the mayor of Newington. And if he hears what you said to me, I hope he tells you you've got to clean this up. Because what you said was embarrassing. What you should have said was, we're deeply concerned about illegals or people who may be illegal just being rounded up without us knowing the exact nature of why. But I asked you a simple question, and when you have to run all around the weeds and answer questions I never asked, it shows you have a problem or you take issue with what you released as a statement. You've clearly never been questioned about what you've said in the past. And when you are pushed back upon, you didn't know how to react and you got angry and you became indignant, which is proof to me you're not prepared to be pushed back upon. That people just let you say whatever you want and go, okay, thank you, we'll take that, like a bunch of stenographers. So we'll get into all of that, and I will detail everything you said in our exchange. There will be no spin, because there won't be any need to spin what you said. Now, let's get to the nonsense that is the Democrat Party. What have we seen over the last, what's it now, 7 months? Where are we? We're going August, 7 months. What have we seen? Have we seen protests? Yes. Have we seen the news media losing its collective mind? Yes. Have we seen terrorism? Yes. Have we seen fighting, rock throwing, gun shooting? Yes, yes, yes. We've seen it all. And what is the common theme in all of this? Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States. We have found out that there are groups like Crowds on Demand, protests nationwide, people outraged, screaming, "No kings." This is called the collective pushback on the current administration. We have Chris Murphy on record telling his supporters and Democrats across the fruited plain that they need to go out there and risk it all to fight this administration. That is what the 7 months of this administration so far has been like. It has been ad nauseum consternation for Republicans and Donald Trump. And what did it get them? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. they are losing ground with the American people. This just in the last 7 months. None of it is working. More and more people are joining the Republican ranks. Why? Is it because Democrats can't stop lying about where they stand and what their positions are? Is it because they really are out of touch with the working class or just everyone? Yes. But I'm going to go one step further. It's because they can't answer simple questions. Let's go to Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries was asked a very simple question on CNN about the loss of 2.1 million voters in 30 states. They no longer register as Democrats. They just lost them in the last 4 years. Asked point blank, why are you losing them? And when you can't answer a simple question like this, where you can't take ownership of your own policies in your own party, and then when you also try to give the detailed answer, you get that wrong too, really shows you have no intent of fixing what's wrong. Hakeem Jeffries, Dana Bash. Is that her name? Yeah, on CNN.
Democrats have lost 2.1 million voters. Republicans have gained 2.4 million. That's a deficit that you have of 4.5 million voters. Why are voters turning away from your party? What is the problem?
Most of that activity, as I understand it, has occurred in Florida and Texas. And certainly it is the case that nationally we're going to have to invest more in these two red states.
Lies. It's flat out lie. The majority is not in Florida and Texas. And if he read the report, which he clearly didn't, he would have known that. It has nothing to do with Florida or Texas at all. Again, it either means he's bad at his job or he is trying to deceive people on purpose. Like no one else can find this information out. If anyone who's a Democrat read the New York Times article would have said, okay, I read it. That's not what it says at all. Why would he go on a Sunday show and say that? It's the reason why people are leaving, because they just can't be honest about the data. But he said it. Let's go to the fact check. The declines were particularly profound or pronounced among men, voters under 45, Latinos, groups that shifted towards Donald Trump in the 2024 elections. Democrats share a new major party registrants, and they fell from 63% in 2018 to under 48% in 2024, allowing Republicans to claim a majority of new voters for the first time since 2018. Early 2025 data shows no reversal, with Democrats down another 160,000 and Republicans up 200,000 since Election Day 2024. And none of this has anything to do with Texas. Florida, it may, 600,000 ended up being a part of the swing. It was a part of the 1.2 million swing to the GOP. It says that Miami-Dade, that county alone shifted from a 200,000 Democrat edge to a GOP lead. But the other states in question are on the East Coast. They are Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and then Nevada and Arizona. Florida has always been a Republican stronghold. It's had its wavering back in 2000. But what he's saying is an outright lie. Again, they all read it. The major swings were Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Nevada, and Arizona. All swing states.
At the end of the day, it's also going to be important for us to continue to make clear to the American people what we stand for as Democrats. We believe in a strong floor and no ceiling. In this country, You work hard, you play by the rules. There should be no ceiling as to what success you can accomplish for yourself, for your family, for your children, for your grandchildren, and your community.
Just don't become a billionaire, because guys like Mamdani, they'll come after you just for working hard and becoming one. But as I said on this poll, Florida was the only one he got right. But he failed to mention Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Nevada, and Arizona. Harry Enton of CNN.
The Democratic brand right now has about the appeal with the American voter as the Cracker Barrel rebrand has with the American consumers. Bad, bad, bad. What are you doing? Oh, my goodness gracious. What are we talking about here in terms of big party registration changes in the key swing states? Let's look at the key 4 swing states that, in fact, do keep track of registration by party. Look, the Republican Party is in their best position at this point in the cycle since at least 2005, and all 4 of these key battleground states. We go out to the Southwest, Arizona. How about Nevada? Republicans haven't done this well since 2005. Oh, my goodness gracious, at this point in the cycle. North Carolina, I couldn't find a point at which Republicans were doing better at this point in the cycle. It's at least this century. It probably goes way back in the last century. And Pennsylvania, very similar. Republicans doing better at this point than at any point. At any point this century, at least as far as I could find.
And it gets worse.
Donald Trump has been president since January. Are there any bright spots for Democrats? Have they picked up any ground since January 1 in terms of party registration? Not in these key swing states, these 4 key swing states. What are we talking about? Party registration margin gains since January 1, 2025. Which party's gained in Arizona? The GOP. How about Nevada? The GOP. North Carolina? The GOP. How about in Pennsylvania? We'll make it 4 for 4. The GOP.
Since January 1 of 2025, Republicans have gained. Everything they didn't work. As I said to you before, and I'll say again, folks, relax. Take a beat. None of it's working. We come back. I've got more news and more views, especially on this topic, on the double standard. That's also hurting Democrats when we return. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. And we're back. Reese on the radio, WTIC News Talk 1080. Plenty of stuff to get into today. I've got some very cool Hollywood news for sports fans that might be interested in this story. Of course, we'll have that roughly at about 5 o'clock. You can always catch the Hollywood news at the 5 o'clock hour as well. We also have our Between Rounds winner who's coming up. And thank you all. So many people are sending their info so they can win an opportunity to get a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe. Keep sending them in. Everybody's got a chance to win as long as you keep entering. Also, the stupidest thing that I read today is an oldie but goodie. It's up there with Ricketts. Just by me saying that, you're going to say, I think I know what the story is. But going back to our opening monologue, because all of this stuff that Democrats are recognizing that is driving them nuts, how can you not ask yourself, wait a minute, so we're driving people away from the party by doing all of this? And all I wish is that they would say, all right, this isn't working, let's go another direction. And making it about Trump isn't helping them either, right? Him being the big boogeyman isn't working. And I don't care. I don't care how much you hate him. You know, Donald Trump is big bad this. He's a threat to democracy. That he's an existential threat. Yeah. Okay. You've said it over and over again. But this idea that says if you don't elect us, Donald Trump's going to do this, that, and the third, that's not working. And it isn't because they don't believe you on Donald Trump. Is that you haven't told anyone what you're going to do because you don't know what you're going to do. You don't. And every time something comes up, you seem to be, you seem to be in opposition with whatever the matter is. You are not driving the news cycle. You're not waking up one morning and going, this is the issue we are going to die on. And then Donald Trump is forced to respond. You are responding to Donald Trump. He always leads the conversation. Donald Trump comes in like a bull in a china shop. He says, I'm doing this. And then you react to it. You're always reacting to it. And he's baiting you into that conversation. I don't. It sounds weird because some people are going to say, but Reese, why are you telling Democrats this? Why are you helping them? I don't know. I really don't. It's a great question. I don't know. I have to ask it myself. I should just sit by here gleefully watching their demise as they tie themselves into knots, not being able to figure it out. But the beauty of it is that they're not going to listen to me. Right? They refuse to. Right now, they're listening to me on the left, especially the black liberals. They're the ones that are not listening to me. They love their white liberal masters. They do exactly what they tell them to do, just be in opposition to Trump. It's not an original thought, black folks. It's not. The white man has you by the ear and is telling you what to protest. You don't even know what you're protesting. Like you're actually out here protesting crime. And for it. An original thought would say, you know, we do have to put an end to this stuff. And just say nothing. How many times have people told you online, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, how many times have folks on the internet told you, hey, black folks, stay out of them white people business? They tell you this all the time. I know, I see it. My wife and I chuckle about it every day. I go, they're not going to listen. They're not going to. Black people are online. Those of you in the WTIC audience who do not follow black Twitter, black Instagram, black Facebook, any of that stuff, I do. And you will see these folks on there telling them every day, hey, stay out of them white people business. Don't get involved. But they do. They can't help themselves. And they jump in. They do what they're supposed to do. They're here in my chat room every day doing the white man's bidding. I didn't make that up. That's them. That's what they call it. They call it doing the white man's bidding, getting on the front lines. Right? Does anybody remember that? Did you see the South Park movie, Roland? Bigger, longer, and uncut. Is that the name of it? Did you see that?
Yeah, a while ago, but
okay. Do you remember right before the war with Canada, they had one section off with black folks. His chef was in the army, and the general called it Operation Get Behind Darky. Do you remember that? Right? It was to protect all the rest of the troops to get behind the black folks. Now, and my favorite line in there is that a chef goes, played by Isaac Hayes, he goes, hadn't you ever heard of the Emancipation Proclamation? And the general goes, I don't listen to hip-hop.
But he was one of my favorite characters.
It is. He was one of mine, too. But that's what this is. They keep pushing black folks out there. Wes Moore is out there now, defending crime. And this is the hypocrisy, defending crime, knowing damn well he is bleeding residents. Don't take my word for it. At the same time, he is saying that Donald Trump, what he did in D.C. was unconstitutional. But when he was asked by Morning Joke about what's going on with crime in Baltimore, I can't believe it. He actually admitted this.
What historically has been Baltimore's greatest challenge? Why has Baltimore had a crime problem over the past 3-4 decades?
Well, I think oftentimes Baltimore's had a neglect problem. And I think about Baltimore used to be a city of 920,000 people. Baltimore is now a city of just under 600,000. In fact, if you look at the past few decades, Baltimore's had one of the most precipitous drops in population that we have seen.
What do you think that's because of? Prosperity? Do you think that over 300,000 people left the city of Baltimore because it was doing fantastic? What happened in that time? They got a black governor, they got a black mayor, and crime skyrocketed. They had no cash bails. They had a black district attorney who then got indicted, who begged for a pardon after the fact. A woman who tried to get justice for Freddie Gray, who prosecuted black police officers while calling them racist, defended a drug dealer who was slamming his head in the back of a paddy wagon. This was all the result of the thing that they told us that we were supposed to do. Hire more blacks. Have more black people in charge of these major cities. And Baltimore has bled over 300,000 people. And what do they think the reason is? He says it's because of neglect. Yes, it was neglect. Neglect of taxpayers. Neglect of people who keep the city afloat. To keep all of those boondoggles running. And a failure of leadership. That's why. People know the hypocrisy when they see it. That's why they're leaving the party just like they left Baltimore. But if you think that's bad, how about this? Democrats also know, hypocrisy when they see it. Does anybody remember this? You should all remember this. John Bolton had his home raided not too long ago. And raiding his home got Democrats up in arms. And the news media, they called it retaliation. But was his home raided or was it just searched? I don't know. Let's ask the media. Let's go back a couple of years to August of 2022.
We learned the news of the FBI raid on Donald Trump's home in Florida at 6:52 p.m. this evening.
The home of the 45th president of the United States has been raided by the FBI.
The raid.
Home. This raid might have pertained to.
This raid on his home.
An FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago.
The raid. Hear about a raid on Donald Trump's house.
The raid on the former president's property.
Yesterday's federal raid on Mar-a-Lago was impressive.
And then they get their marching orders. Please, folks, stop calling it a raid. And then all of a sudden it became a search. And then it became Donald Trump called it a raid. And it's his fault.
We keep hearing a lot of people call what the FBI did at Mar-a-Lago a raid.
It wasn't really a raid. Well, yeah, not a raid, the search.
Not a raid, we'll call it a search. Let's put yesterday's search.
This is obviously not a raid, technically speaking.
New details about the FBI search on Mar-a-Lago.
The search on the president's home
Leading up to this search on Monday.
No, man, there was no raid on your home.
It's not a raid.
It wasn't a raid on his house.
This unprecedented search on Monday.
This was not a raid.
This was not a raid. It was an orderly execution of a search warrant.
And those are the facts.
Then that's exactly what it was at John Bolton's house. A carefully executed search. Perhaps that's the reason why you're bleeding support. Why no one wants to be associated with you. And back during that so-called search, what were you doing? Celebrating it.
The FBI has raided the home of the immediate past president of the United States. It feels both astonishing and sort of inevitable in equal measure.
Perhaps the orange jumpsuit is forthcoming?
I think the national Democratic reaction is hallelujah.
Let's pause for a second to look at how weird and horrible this is.
One day, my two daughters will read a history book where today goes down as weird and horrible.
Tomorrow is the day when you're going to want to buy the physical copy of the newspaper. You're going to want to buy it and fold it carefully, maybe put it in a little archival paper or parchment if you don't have that.
Perhaps all of that stuff is the reason why you have no credibility. And there has been a 400,000 vote swing. Why? Why would that be the case? Well, actually, it's more than that. It's 4.5 million now that I think about it. Because you lost 2.1, Republicans gained 2.4. So it's a 4.5 swing. And you ask yourself why. And when you're asked really simple questions like, hey, why are you doing it? You make up the most stupid excuses. And you're never going to work on it. Because the truth is you don't have any answers. You don't. You couldn't possibly have answers. That's why you're in a rut. Speaking of not having answers, after we come back from the headlines, I'll talk to you about some horrible answers from John Trister, Mayor John Trister's office. Stand by. More news, more views than you can shake a stick at. No phone calls yet. Everybody, just relax. We'll be back. More news, more views. It's Monday. Right here on Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah, it's looking pretty bad. I think it's fair to say that it's just looking pretty bad. But it's not like it can't change. There are other places where Democrats can win solid blue states. And you know what? Mamdani looks like a shoo-in. And I think if Republicans, or even Democrats for that matter, let's take Andrew Cuomo, if you really want to stop Zohran Mamdani, what you need to do is to put whatever he is planning on doing under a dumbbell that weighs 135 pounds. Did you see that display the other day? Mamdani trying to lift weights? A 135-pound weight. Did you see that? Did you see the guy who had to assist him in lifting a 135-pound weight? What did I see? What did I witness? That this guy is, I mean, isn't the biggest problem with the Democrat Party is that they don't have anybody who's remotely manly? And he sat underneath that weight and had to be spotted on one deadlift. One. And then Riley Gaines, who, by the way, Riley, let me explain to you. Riley, it was the dumbest thing for her to clown Mamdani with the weightlifting thing. Can I explain why? Because now they can make the case that men can play in women's sports. You actually gave them license to say, see? If we put everybody on the team that looks like and can weightlift like Mamdani, then it's it looks like they can compete. Riley should have stayed out of it. But yeah, it looked pretty bad. Mamdani's not an old guy. He's a young man and can't lift 135 pounds on a weight. That's, I looked at that. I didn't want to watch it. I was like, oh, what's this silliness? I just moved on. And then I was forced to watch it. And I saw it. I went, oh my goodness. No wonder they're making a big deal out of it. Not that that's a requirement. We don't need a mayor who can lift 135 pounds or more. That's not the case. But you really don't make a case for a strong, healthy person in office. He looked like a weakling. Goodness gracious. Lori says, authenticity is their shortcoming too. Yes, I think that that's a problem. I think that anytime you have to be coached into being authentic, that indeed defeats the purpose. Like, authentic is authentic. I was having a conversation with somebody. I can't remember who it was. And forgive me if I did. And it was only recently that we don't ever see Democrats doing something that average Americans do. Even when Donald Trump does it with Secret Service in tow, he looks naturally present. He goes to a football game as a president or a candidate, surrounded by Secret Service. He always makes it look boss. Now, I know it's the cameras, but then they showed Kamala Harris with her husband, Doug Emhoff, and they were in the back awkwardly eating popcorn like someone spotted them in a Where's Waldo book. It was very awkward. They just don't look natural. It's not a good look. You've got to, as a politician, you've always got to come across like you own the place. And they don't. Barack Obama's got that thing, too, where he's always wearing the wrong jacket. He's very skinny. I wish he would stop wearing jackets that look similar to the members-only look. It's not a good look. He's always wearing patterns in his shirt and mom jeans. What's with the mom jeans? I can't get it. It's like no one's ever taught the guy how to dress. And I get it if you're not. Telling everybody that you listen to Jay-Z doesn't mean you have style. And if you look at Barack Obama, you get the sense it's like, what happened? Like, this guy used to be the coolest dude in the room. Everywhere he went, it just seemed like he owned it. But now he walks around and just kind of, I don't know. It just doesn't look natural anymore. But I look at the usual suspects, and it looks bad. Like Hakeem Jeffries at a park bench where he photoshopped his hips to make them look slimmer. Oh, why? That's such a vain move. It just didn't look good. All right, we come back. We got headlines, and we'll talk about Newington Mayor John Trister, at least his town manager, when we return. Let's get to some news. John Silva's in the WTIC newsroom. It's Reese on the radio.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
Getting to your phone calls in a little bit. Stand by for that. Let's get to some headlines. Rapper Snoop the Doop Doggy Dog makes our news today. He recently opined on a podcast about his dismay at the amount of gay characters that he's seeing in children's films. He spoke about this time with his grandchild. He took them to see the Disney film Lightyear, where one of the characters has two moms. I did not see the film, but it is based upon the famous character from Toy Story, voiced by Tim Allen. And it talks about his earlier career before he becomes, Lightyear. And anyway, in the film, apparently there are some gay characters in the film that, ended up causing the film to bomb. I don't know. I didn't see it. I don't really care. But I thought it was interesting that Snoop Dogg, who is beloved by mainstream America, would make this proclamation. But he says this. His grandson said to him during the film, "Papa Snoop, how'll she have a baby with a woman? She's a woman." I don't know how old his grandchild is, but apparently they understand biology. He went on to talk about this and saying that it's everywhere you look. Whether or not there'll be backlash, I'm sure there will be. There'll be some people who will write articles that will condemn Snoop Dogg. But his concern is about his grandchild and about children films, even, let's just say, introducing sexuality, be it subtle or not, into children's films. A person's sexual orientation should not be in that context. And that's the reason why he was bothered by it, because as a parent, you're not going there to have that conversation with your child. Now you're kind of being forced to. Plus, grandparents often take their kids to go see the movie. They visit them. It's like, oh, let's go to the movies. Now, watching something on camera might create a conversation where the child is asking a grandparent, and now they have to go to the parents and say, what do I do in this? It just creates a series of problems. So I totally appreciate where Snoop Dogg's coming from. He probably had this conversation with his own kids, but grandchildren, that's different. Chipotle has joined the drone wars of delivery. Apparently, they're going to be delivering to one town in Texas, but they expect to expand if this goes well. They're going to call this new program Zipotle, which apparently is part of a zipline company that started this. And they're going to be making deliveries of Chipotle food to your home. Apparently, you can only get food weighing up to 5.5 pounds delivered, with an expansion into 8-pound deliveries later on. I'm not particularly fond of the idea of drone delivery of anything, but food creates a problem. And here's why. Have you ever been on the beach and had a seagull attack your food? I've seen a lot of that recently.
That is the main reason I don't go to beaches. That's the number one.
Is that the number one reason why you don't go?
Number one, and then number two, I don't like sand getting all in.
Yeah.
But the number one is the seagulls always coming around searching for people's food.
And people want to have picnics there because it's a great place to go romantically with your loved one, to do that. And the seagulls make it really hazardous because they come down and your reaction to it, you may even injure yourself in trying to protect yourself from the seagulls. And their talons are no joke.
Yeah.
So, well, this is a good point. I'm glad you chimed in on that. So you won't go because of that reason.
Because when it's just a beautiful day, it's just a beautiful day. You got to kind of get out there. Yeah. I'm not an outside person anyway, but my wife is, so you want to make her happy. You got to
suck it up, right?
The problem I have is I don't like animals either. So that's the issue.
Listen to me. Finally, you and I agree on something. I don't like animals. I don't like animals for a completely different reason than you. My problem is they don't speak English. Because if they don't speak English, you can't reason with them. You know?
There's no reasoning. And you try to shoo them away, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're big, brolic birds. They're like, I'm here to stay. I'm waiting for you to drop this food, man.
Yeah.
What you waiting for?
Oh, good. I'm glad I brought this up. This is, again, so you agree with the idea that delivering food on a drone, in essence, you're kind of in their domain. Now you can get a bird that just flies by and smells your Chipotle. It's gone.
And come on now. We've seen so many movies about flying drones, helping people. It just reeks of it's going to be a big problem for us.
You know what? And I'm going to wait. It's a very pilot program just in one place in Texas. I'll follow up on it and see how well it's done and see what the expansion looks like. But I thought it was interesting. Anyway, thank you, man. Millions of dollars raised to help victims of the 2025 California wildfires have ended up in the coffers of unrelated nonprofits, pushing a variety of progressive causes. A Washington Free Beacon review found some of the groups have received funds explicitly excluding white people from their services, while others advertise programs for illegal aliens. Fire Aid announced in February that it would distribute the money it raised, some $100 million, to equitably, a promise it appears to have kept. Greenline Housing Foundation, for instance, they received from the pool $4.8 million dedicated to health and housing. It's noted on its website that no whites need apply. In order to qualify for a grant through Greenline Housing Foundation, the applicants must be a Black or Hispanic person. That's cold. That is cold. Ali is in the chat room. He lives in San Diego. Like I tell you, folks, Reach on the Radio is far-reaching. If you can, for me, Ali, because and I know you're not exactly near all that, that fire-damaged area, but I know you know these subjects very well, Ali. If you could tell me in the chat room, and I'll get back to you because it's going to take you a second or two to write it down. Programs like this, because I almost feel like it makes no sense. The population of African Americans in California is only about 2.5 million. You have this $4.8 million that's dedicated to Black and brown folks who were affected by the wildfires. I believe that the population of Black and brown folks that were affected were almost infinitesimal. If you could tell me a little bit about that from what you're seeing on the ground in the San Diego area, could you help me? I know it's not Los Angeles, but it's nearby. If you could tell me what you know in there, and I'll read it in the chat room for everybody here. And I appreciate that. Happy Monday, Jason, as well. And now it's time to go to our stupidest thing I read today.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Here is a press release you don't read every day. El Dorado County health officials have been notified by the California Department of Public Health that a South Lake Tahoe resident has tested positive for the bubonic plague. The individual is currently under the care of a medical professional and is recovering at home. It's believed that the person may have been bitten by an infected flea while camping in South Lake Tahoe. Health officials are investigating the situation. Now, when I found out that, what was the other disease that came out not too long ago? I mean, measles is an old one. Oh, whooping cough. What is it? Whooping cough? Whooping cough came back. That was another old one that came back. But, folks, it's gotten so bad that I thought we got rid of the plague. But someone came back with the Black Death? How is that possible? Isn't that like a 16th century disease? What do you do for that? That's like bringing back rickets and scurvy. I would be scared to death if that, and I mean, you know it's transferable. The plague? That's how bad it's gotten. Things have gotten so bad in California, you can get the plague? Sokolowski says, I applied for a city job 27 years ago. They told us up front that women and minorities would be hired before whites, regardless of experience. Ali says, not much fires this way, and the ones that were going on have been contained. Rats carry the plague. Yes, not bugs. You're 100% right, Lori, when I read this, that they got it from a flea. Again, how? So that means that there are rats in the Northern California area that quite possibly have the plague. So this could expand. And under Gavin Newsom's watch, you can forget, we may see more cases of this. We could. It's quite possible. Matteo says, that's it. It's the end of days. I don't know. But it feels like it. When I saw this, I was like, no, I didn't read that right. And sure enough, the bubonic plague, someone with that. It couldn't get more crazy. Let's go to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. Let's get Gary in Southington. How are you, sir?
Hey, hold on.
Okay, I got you, Gary.
I just take it off a speakerphone.
You got it. How are you, sir?
Good. Hey, I want to chime in. You said earlier about Cuomo and them, what they have to do, what they need to do to kind of expose Mondami. Okay, I totally disagree. Here, I want to give you some facts.
Okay.
And you probably already know this. Mondami is a 12%er. You know what that is?
No, but is it related to the Muslim faith?
Absolutely. It's part of that's what the Ayatollah is. That's what the regime and Ayatollah, that part of Shiitism, not Sunni, Shiite, and Shiite's probably a little more violent than Sunni.
Yes.
Not much, but the 12%ers are a whole different story.
Okay.
So this is what Cuomo needs to do. He's not going to do it because they're cowards. They need to stand on the stage and say, listen, sir, you're an Islamic terrorist. First of all,
wow.
The Muslims are doing all. His father is a member of an Islamic terrorist organization.
That is correct.
This just came out in the news.
That's correct.
Okay, so the 12% is what they believe in is there's 12 imams, and there's a Mahdi. This is real bizarre, but you can look it up. They believe in the Mahdi. The Mahdi cannot appear until Israel is destroyed. This is so. They're so violent that their whole life is dedicated to this.
But Gary, what do you, even with that, and trust me,
okay,
with everything that you're laying out, I want you to consider something, and then I'll take your answer after. This is New York City, which was one of the first places they pushed the Islamophobia rhetoric. Right, it was the first place they had to get that under control, that any criticism of Muslims in New York City was Islamophobia, which immediately curtailed any concern New Yorkers had. And now it has taken full root in the city to the point where we're seeing Jewish Americans or Jewish New Yorkers supporting Mamdani. Clearly, the intelligentsia is supporting him, and the very wealthy on the Upper West and Upper East Side. And they have overwhelmingly supported this guy who they know all of these things about his family. This guy's nothing more than a Nepo baby. Do you think that even if Cuomo were to get on a stage with this guy, get that opportunity again, that even if he said it, they would care or they would just condemn Cuomo?
Okay, but that's a separate issue. It's
Right.
like if you're in a relationship with somebody who has an addiction, or let's say an addiction, okay?
Right.
You have to do your part. You do your part in a relationship. What they do is a whole different story. We can't control. Well, let me address that what you just said. The reason why the Jews and the intelligentsia in New York, because their first religion is not Judaism,
Fair.
it's liberalism.
Fair.
So okay, they're not any different than all the idiotic white liberals that are running around.
They're a little more radical. I'm sorry. New York liberals are a little more off the beaten path.
But their first religion is liberalism, so they're not going to bend from that. Some of them might, though. If you keep saying this, right? If you keep saying the truth about who he is and you show proof, the Muslims are doing this all over Europe. Madani is not a socialist. Every time I hear this, I can cringe. There's no parallelism with socialism and Islam, except for the fact that they're both evil. I mean, the ones that the real diehard Muslims.
Sure.
But as far as the policies, do we even have a brain? How can you line up with the fact that he's a hardline Islamist? There is no question about that.
They know that,
and yet
but
he calls himself a socialist.
But they know that. I believe this. It's not that the people, as I just mentioned, Jewish New Yorkers, intelligentsia, or the academics, any of them, it's not that they don't know this about him. They know it full well. It's that they wish to promote someone like this because they hate New York and what it stands for. And that is its capitalist roots, the fact that it is the most powerful, if not the wealthiest city in the world. It is technically the capital of the world. They wish to destroy that. And Mamdani is the impetus. He is the person in which they would elect to have that take place. He will do their bidding. And they're not dumb. They're not ignorant. They want this.
Well, no, they are dumb. They actually are ignorant.
Well, they're dumb for wanting it, Gary, without a doubt.
What they're hoping for. Yeah, but I agree with you, except I don't think they want to destroy New York. They want New York to be a utopian leftist society. But Mamdani does not.
Oh no, absolutely not.
He does not want it. No, he does not want it. He doesn't want freebies for everybody. He wants control. He's working his way as high as he can towards the White House. They're doing this all over Europe.
Do you think he could do this? Do you think what he's doing here is emblematic? Well, you said Europe, so I guess that's what you're saying, because what he wants to do to New York is what was done in London.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly. You got it right in the head. And what's happened to London? Stabbings all the time, rapes all the time. These are done by young Muslims.
Yeah, it's really, really bad over there. And people,
they got their own community.
Yeah, it's incredible. What's it called? Is it no police zones or no? What's the zones that they call? Because people always push back on that about because they police themselves in these communities. No go zones.
Yeah, they got them here, and they got them here in Michigan.
That's right. That's exactly what they do. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate the call. I got to take a break soon, but thank you so much. Look, he's got a good point. I don't believe this idea that those folks are stupid. I really do believe that Mamdani is a means to an end for them. And, it's the same case with that Michigan town near Dearborn, where everyone in the gay community did everything they could to make sure that the city council was Muslim and Muslim only. And they were like, nope, got to have Muslim, got to have equity, equity and inclusion. And they did everything they can to endorse them, to promote them, to fundraise for them, to donate to those guys. Sure enough, they get in power. What's their first order of business? Pride flags come down everywhere in the state. We could never have the gay community turns around and goes, well, you betrayed us. They never made a commitment to you. You took it upon yourself. You angled for yourself to promote them. You thought that they were being discriminated against and they needed equity. You gave it to them, only for them to discriminate against you. It's a circular firing squad now. It wasn't like you weren't warned. You wouldn't listen to us. Now you will. Or maybe you won't. Now let's see whether or not they'll ban homosexuality in that community. Oh, yeah, it's coming. You can damn well bet. Let's take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views when we return. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. We're back. It's Reese on the radio, WTIC News Talk 1080. Yeah, Ali's. I thought it was a little long, too. No, we're good. We're back. I want to do this, but I'm going to do it sparingly. So forgive me, guys. I'm going to get you in real quick because I have to get to this story about Newington. Okay? So just bear with me real quick. Let's go to Mary in Bristol. How are you, Mary?
Hey, Reese. I'm okay. How are you?
I'm pretty good. What do you got going on?
I have something to share about Aqua Fall K.
Okay. What do you got?
I'll tell you the real quick version, and if you want me to call back another time, you can let me know when it would be good.
Do you mind if I take your number and then I can speak to you off air later? I want you to get out the topic here, but can I call you later?
I don't want to put my phone number on the air.
Oh, no. I don't want you to give me the telephone number. I already have it.
Oh, that's right. You have call waiting, and I never realized that.
Yeah, but tell me what you got.
All right. In a nutshell, I called the APA hotline, pesticide hotline on Friday.
Okay.
I had a toxicology question about myself. While I was there, I asked about our situation in Connecticut. Excuse me. Basically, she didn't seem to find Aquathol in the database.
Huh.
And she asked me, is that the trade name or is it the active ingredient? I said, it's the trade name. She said, by any chance, do you know the active ingredient? I said, you found a list online, and the only word I recognized was DDT. If I got it right, if I heard right, like Delta, Delta, Tango.
Yes.
Okay. She said, DDT is not allowed for use anywhere in the United States. So she did give me a phone number of a Connecticut regulatory agency where someone could make an incident report when we feel that there has been a misapplication. And I don't know anything about it or how good they would be, but
yes, you're right. It's still worth noting what we have found out. I'll tell you this, give a little inside baseball. We do know that someone from our mainstream media is investigating deeper into the Selden Cove application of Aquathol K because they found out, as we did, that it's not allowed to be shipped into like 6 states, Connecticut being one of them. And the fact that an outside, and this was my issue in all of this last week, because as Mark in West Hartford and I and the skipper are all there, as we're looking all of this up, because we had never heard of this, this particular herbicide. As we're looking it up, we keep asking ourselves, because to us, it's incumbent on the Army Corps of Engineers to be there so that with the information that we have to ask them, hey, it says it's not supposed to be shipped here. Are you guys authorizing its shipment here and its use here? That would make more sense to me. Like in this instance, that would override the local government's restriction of its use. They're saying, well, we're the federal government, we authorize it here. But the fact that they weren't here and they used an outside vendor, Solitude, to apply it with no oversight. No one is there watching it be applied to Sheldon Cove. They just went out there. Everyone who was there pulled up in a truck that read Solitude on it. No one showed up with a truck that said Army Corps of Engineers or a federal SEAL, nothing. So they were allowed to do this without supervision.
Well, did someone allow them or did they just go ahead? They should have gone home and rescheduled.
Indeed, exactly. Especially after telling us, we asked several people, is the Army Corps of Engineers arriving? Because we were at the launch site. We were like, is Army Corps of Engineers coming here? They said no. What they said 3 times, and I asked 3 different people, they are meeting us at the site. Now, because I didn't know what the site was, I had never been there, much less a boat on the Connecticut River, I thought maybe there was a different launch site. In fact, that's what both Marks said to me. They said maybe they're launching from another site. So as we were going down the river, a good 7 miles, we looked to see if we saw any Army Corps of Engineers folks. Maybe somebody was in the water. We saw no one. And we waited there an hour, and only Solitude showed up. Nobody from the Army Corps of Engineers. And again, we were there for over an hour. We arrived at 9 a.m. We left at roughly about 11:30, and they had already started applying. Army Corps of Engineers nowhere to be found.
Something is very, very wrong.
No kidding. Yeah, you got that right, Mary. It's, again, something is wrong. And the fact that they would lie directly to us saying, look, I'm only the biologist. I'm here to test the water. Now, again, we've got to follow up because they're supposed to go there every 3 months for the next 3 years. They have to be in Selden Cove. Now, here's where it makes it even more interesting. And Mark, the skipper, showed this to me, and he proved it while we were on the water. He says the water shifts like it goes downstream and upstream. The water, the tidal of this water will go up and down and shift back and forth. So in other words, all the chemical that's being placed in the water will then shift to another section of the river. And then the tide or the water stream would come back in the opposite direction. And I said, wow, that's interesting. The water goes back and forth like that. I knew nothing about it. I'm not, an aquatics, guy or understands the waterways. I've never owned a boat. But he explains it to me. And then as we're sitting in the boat, he shows me how the water is causing us to drift. And we're sitting there, and sure enough, I feel it as it's happening. So I'm going, so you mean that this poison isn't just going to be in the cove? And he goes, no, it's going to go everywhere. So that's why we have this concern. Army Corps of Engineers, there were no scientists or biologists in the water during the application or immediately after. They were just there putting the poison in. It made no sense to me. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. So that's where we are. But I promise you, I will give you a holler and give me the telephone when we talk. I'll get the telephone number from you so I can see if I can get them on the record.
Okay. I screen all my calls. Leave a message if I don't answer.
No problem. I'll text you first.
Well, you can't text me. It's a landline.
Oh, okay. All right. No problem. I promise you I will leave a message first and let you know it's me.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mary.
If you give me your text number, I can text. I have 2 phones.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You know what? Just go to my website. The telephone number is there.
I can't go there, Reese, because I don't have a computer.
You're not.
That's all right. That's all right. Usually people do have ways of getting around, but I don't.
That's okay. That's no problem. In fact, I can give you the number now if you want it.
Give me a moment.
Okay.
And
it's where everybody gets it. It's what I call my office line. Tell me when you're ready.
Okay. I'm blind.
Oh,
I'm
yeah, that's right.
I'm finding my pen.
Okay.
I'm finding something to write on.
Take your time.
And okay, go ahead.
All right, it's 202
202
735
735
1288.
1288.
And if you leave a message there, then I will definitely get it.
All right.
Okay?
And so, okay.
All right, and I will contact you immediately. I promise you, without a doubt, you'll hear from me like immediately after the show.
What time should I call?
Call after 6.
After. Can I read it back to you just to make sure I didn't mess up?
You can, of course.
202 735 1288.
That's it.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you so much. Bye.
You're welcome. All right, now let's get to this issue that I had to go through in just inquiring about a statement by the mayor of Newington. As you may know, 7 individuals were arrested by ICE, Hartford ICE, at the Optimal Car Wash. And they were taken into custody, and of course the mayor, John Trister, put out a statement. Here it is in full. On Saturday morning, 7 individuals were arrested by Immigration and Custom Enforcement while working at the Optimal Car Wash on Main Street in Newington. The Newington Police Department was not involved in these arrests and was only notified after as a courtesy. Since learning of this incident, we have requested immediate information from the Hartford ICE, where inquiries have been directed. We are actively working to determine who was targeted, whether their families have been notified, where they are being held, and if or how they have been charged. We are deeply concerned by this incident. In the United States, everyone, regardless of their immigration status or where they were born, has the right to due process and to fundamental protections that cannot and must not be denied. This is a guarantee for any person in this country afforded by the United States Constitution. The recent actions of ICE by the federal government are designed to intimidate and terrorize immigrants and their families, and we will not stand idly by. As community leaders, we stand united with Newington's immigrant communities. Our town has been and will remain in place, where families are welcome and where neighbors look out for one another. We will not be intimidated, and we will never be silent. We will share additional information with our community as soon as it becomes available. Now, all I wanted to know was what Mayor John Trister meant by this quote. We are deeply concerned by this incident. What is he concerned about? Can he specify? When someone says that they are deeply concerned, this is a call to his constituents. The mayor is deeply concerned about ICE grabbing 7 individuals at the Optimal Car Wash. What's the concern? Is the concern that ICE is bad, ICE is evil, ICE broke the law? What is he concerned about? Can he explain? Well, I called the town manager, Jonathan Ulchel, to which he says the statement speaks for itself. No, it doesn't. It doesn't answer my question. What is specifically he concerned about deeply? What? Now, I get the rest of it, right? We are deeply concerned about this incident in the United States. Everyone, regardless of their immigration status or where they were born, has the right to due process and the fundamental protections that cannot and must not be denied. What is he concerned about? Does he know the individuals who were arrested? Does he know that they are innocent of any wrongdoing? That's the reason why Jonathan Ulchel had a problem with me asking the question, because he doesn't know who the individuals are or why they were detained. But see, that lends itself to another problem. And when we get back, I'll explain it to you. There is a bigger problem here, and why Jonathan and John both got ahead of their skis, and why they couldn't answer the simple question about what they're deeply concerned about. Stand by. We'll be back. Plus, traffic and weather when we return. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
First check of weather and traffic coming up, and of course, top of the hour news as well. Stand by for that. So this comment by Jonathan Ulchel, the town manager of Newington, the reason why they have a problem is because everyone who is anyone in Connecticut has chosen not to cooperate with ICE. Think about this. Since learning of the incident, we have requested immediate information from the Hartford ICE, where inquiries have been directed. We are actively working to determine who was targeted, whether their families have been notified, and where they are being held, or if they have been charged. We are deeply concerned by this incident. You can't be concerned about an incident you know nothing about. You don't know who was targeted. You don't know who was arrested. You don't know where they are. You don't know why they were grabbed. How could you be deeply concerned? You're in the dark. I mean, you don't know what's going on because you refuse to assist ICE. Oh, and by the way, you were informed as a courtesy. Did you assist? Did you let ICE know that, hey, if you need to get some baddies out of there, we got your back? No. You treated them as adversaries. You treated them as interlopers. You treated them like invaders, colonizers even. And now you're deeply concerned about something you didn't even bother to get involved in. ICE knew they couldn't rely on you, Mayor, or you, Jonathan, as town manager. They couldn't even rely on you. So you woke up in the morning and found out 7 people were arrested at the Optimal car wash. And you come out of it shocked. What happened? Why did they take them? We're deeply concerned. You don't know anything to be deeply concerned. I mean, be concerned, but deeply? You can't be deeply concerned. Deeply concerned about something that's oblivious to you? Again, let me take your own damn comments. Since learning of the incident, we have requested immediate information from Hartford ICE. We are actively working to determine who was targeted because we don't know. Whether their families have been notified because we don't know who they are. And where they're being held because, you know what? No one bothered to tell us and we didn't ask. Or how they have been charged. We are deeply concerned by this incident. You believe that in some way they were violated, but how could you possibly know? You know nothing. But you're deeply concerned about not knowing anything. The reason why this statement is incomplete is because you don't know what you're talking about. And the reason why you didn't have an answer for me is because you don't know what you're talking about. You know that it involves immigration, and it is a blanket reaction by you and your cohorts. Breaking up families is wrong. Grabbing illegals off the street is wrong. Well, tell us why it's wrong. Tell us why these individuals who are arrested is wrong. Well, I can't really answer that. Why can't you? Well, this statement is what it is. So don't be mad at me because I asked for a deeper understanding. You didn't even bother. You didn't bother to get a deeper understanding, to give a statement. I'm doing the job you didn't bother to do. Contact ICE? I contacted you. And you gave me guff for doing it. But guess what? I'm not deeply concerned about your statement. I called. Let's get a first check of weather and traffic. Bob Larson has got weather, and Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. How we doing, buddy? Good Monday to you.
Same to you, Reese. Thank you very much.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Oh, man. I got to give it up to Kevin B. Kevin just sent me sent me a message. Kevin B., by the way, this is brilliant, and it's perfect. I have a story for you. I'll tell you about it later. He says, thanks, Reese. I was pulling into a spot at Home Depot with you blaring on the radio. When you said doing the white man's bidding, right when a black dude was walking by the truck, I got stared down like I was a white supremacist. Thanks again, pal. I'm sorry, buddy. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I was just telling the truth. You should have given him an opportunity to understand what the show. Yeah, that guy. But I appreciate you blaring the show nonetheless. It was great. If you're just joining us, I finally had to talk about this issue in Newington. And we'll get into some further details. Mark in West Hartford, our intrepid reporter, who's doing this story as well because of these arrests on Saturday, which all I tried to get to the bottom of was what in the hell is the mayor of Newington deeply concerned about? I read the statement. I just don't think that they did and didn't understand what they wrote. And he kept standing by the statement, but here's where it gets worse. Jonathan Olchel then went on to suggest that I should spin it any way I wanted to. Why? The words are stupid enough. I don't need to spin them. I can use the words for the purpose of making the office look ridiculous. Again, you said it. I didn't. I asked a simple question, and let me say this to you, Jonathan, so you understand. I already know the answer to the question I'm asking. I'm trying to get you to walk into it, and I know exactly how to. I am only bringing you to the conclusion I already have. Because I read the statement. I know what it meant when you wrote it. That you were not concerned about who the individuals were. You didn't care. And I'll break it down to you just so you can understand. And maybe, perhaps, I could assist you in writing better. Or at least making a public statement in a better way. Let's get back to weather and traffic. Bob Larson's got weather. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. And Mark, we've got to address that our good friend and meteorologist, Jason Caterina, has moved on, but not in a bad way. He's actually got a day job, so we have to wish him well.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't, everybody was like, where's Jason Caterina? He's a part of this family. And he's just gone, but I heard that he did get a morning gig. But I'm not exactly sure where. But no, we congratulate him, and we're very happy for him.
Absolutely.
I'm just telling him we miss him.
We do miss him, and now he's getting up really early in the morning.
You know what? That's fine. I used to do that, but not that I would ever do that again. But if I had to, I probably would. But
yeah, if you had to.
Yeah, if I had to.
You want it?
But I guess, you know what? I'm sure he took it because he wanted to. I'm sure that it is not a slight on working with Reese on the radio. At least I don't believe.
No, not at all. No.
More money, more money, more money.
Yeah, probably more money. Yeah.
Yeah, he's over there at WOLD.
Is he over there?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, what would work here?
Oh, okay.
Harry Chapin, let's plug that in. Hey, if you're...
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
And congratulations to William F. of Washington Washington Depot. My apologies. He is our winner today of the Between Rounds dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Vernon, and Manchester. And I've been to all of them except Manchester. Did I not go to the Manchester one? I thought I did. No, I went to Vernon. Been to Vernon twice. Then went to the South Windsor one. Saw Chris, hung out there, and had the little bakery. I went in the freezer and saw all the stuff and the making of the bagels. It's a pretty cool operation. I'm not going to lie. I would have worked in a bakery. I would have. I totally would have. It's a great job. A cool job. Some of the people who work there, 25 years making bagels. If you, in my head, I was sitting there going, wow, that's a lot of redundancy. But when you love what you do it forever. So, yes, congratulations again to William F. of Washington Depot. I'm going to get to the phones in a second, but there's another part of this press release by the Newington Mayor, John Trister. This is the last part. We will not be intimidated, and we will never be silent. We will share additional information with our community as soon as it becomes available. The whole damn press release has no information. They just know that nobody should be intimidated. Nobody should be taken. And they don't know who was taken or where they were taken or why they were taken. But they know they're not going to be intimidated. You have no info. You can't be deeply concerned about something you don't know. Okay? That's why I asked the question. I've been doing this a long time. I know how you're going to answer because I knew the statement was stupid anyway. I knew you can't be deeply concerned about things you don't know. Unless you are deeply concerned that you don't know them, that you're in the dark. You're deeply concerned, Jonathan, about your ignorance, as are we. We are deeply concerned about your office's ignorance on the matter. They informed you as a courtesy, but you didn't know who these men were. You don't know how they got here, and you don't know what they have done or what they're capable of or the conditions that led them to your town. You know nothing. So your deep concern is silly. There's nothing to spin. You were so concerned that you kept telling me, what do I think it means? I'll tell you now. I think you guys are ignorant. I think your statement was nothing more than a platitude on template. You answered the way you're supposed to answer. No one was thinking critically when they wrote it. So the reason why you were so surprised or you couldn't seem to understand why I was asking was simple. And I didn't want to lead you into an answer. I just wanted to know, what are you deeply concerned about? And now I know why you have no idea what you were deeply concerned about. Because you don't know anything. How do I know? I didn't guess. Let's read it again. Since learning of the incident, we have requested immediate information from the Hartford ICE office where inquiries have been directed. We are actively working to determine who was targeted because we don't know, whether their families have been notified because we don't know, where they are being held because we don't know, and if or how they have been charged because we don't know. We are deeply concerned about what we don't know. And so are we. Now, does it make sense? I hope we figured it out. Let's go to Chris in Southbury. Hello, Chris.
Hey, Reese, how are you? I'm calling to comment on the Newington thing, and my question is this. What happened to the employer?
Yes, great question. But I don't know. Well, here's a good question. Does ICE have the hold on, Chris? Does ICE have the authorization to charge him? Because are they only there in the capacity to grab the illegals?
Right. So if the mayor's so concerned, maybe he's concerned because he knew about this and he's afraid that that's going to get tied to him, and he's going to be charged with aiding and abetting or harboring. I mean, because at some point, if they don't go after the employers, this will go on forever.
That's true. We used to have a country where Democrats, Bill Clinton in particular, wanted to punish businesses that did this, taking opportunities from legal citizens who can work and giving them to illegals. We used to have a time where that was the sort of the common theme, and we're not there anymore. But I think you're right about that.
I appreciate you taking my call, Reese.
Thank you, Chris. Much appreciated. Thank you, sir. Mark in West Hartford is here. So you've been on this story. I see it on X. I mean, aren't you as concerned as I am?
I'm laughing because you and I didn't talk all weekend or today, and you're honest. We're like-minded when we see something, we say something, right? So let me set this up. I've been going there since they opened up,
right?
And shame on the community there, because one thing is, I know you'll never get a detail for this price ever. I leave a $40 tip. You know why? For $60, they clean your car inside and out and hand wax it.
Wow.
They clay bar. They do everything. It's a $300 detail.
Wow.
And I've got a pretty big truck. Oh, it's $60. It's unbelievable. Well, here's the thing. I'm just riffing off of your last caller. Now, the gas station, so what it is a car washing operation attached to a little gas station / bodega.
Okay.
Now, the owners of the gas station or the people managing the gas station appear to be from the Middle East, while all those in the car wash appear to be Mexican. I've talked to
or of some other Hispanic national group.
No, it's only because they actually have a Mexican flag hanging outside the operation. And because I okay. So sometimes I say things, but I usually try.
No. I'm a little stunned because you said it, but that was just like, well, I'm sure that some of them are Hispanic. But if they're actually showing a Mexican flag, knowing that some of their members of this car wash are illegal.
Yeah. So,
the hubris.
What I want to know is now does the town know? Are they zoned for that? Is the taxes aligned with what the intent was for that property?
You know, is the gas station owner? What kind of operation is this? So that's that. Now, the one thing that, you know, and I posed questions to the town manager, John Astle, and the mayor, John Trister, was, you know, like, how come they didn't arrest everybody there? Because let me tell you, everybody, I think, is assuming everybody got scooped up.
Right.
So my friend went that day and talked to the few people that didn't get arrested, trying to find out some stuff because he goes there too, and you develop a relationship. I've been going there for years. And they weren't sure the ones that were left behind. So, you know, you would think, you know, with the way it's presented, is like they just went there and scooped everybody up. Well, why would they leave some behind? Why did they arrest just 7 of them? Were they here illegally? Were they here illegally and have committed crimes?
Right.
I mean, you don't even know. But instead of them doing the homework first. Now, here's the other thing is I just mentioned this to you the other day when we were on the boat ride.
Yeah.
But it never really made that big of a deal on the news. In Newington, about a week and a half ago, there was a group of scooters. So they don't no longer ride on quads and dirt bikes. They still do. But now the new thing is scooters.
Right.
Because they could buy them legally and they could ride. Well, a car passed out a group that was impeding on his forward motion, whatever. And one of the riders took out and blew out his back window with a gun. And you know what? You will not see a public statement by either the mayor or town manager. We had a Republican, this fraud, Anastasia Yap. You remember that name?
Yeah, sure. Spoke with her.
Okay. She was arrested. She's charged. She shut the water off on a single mom with 2 little kids. The water was off for 54 days.
Whoa.
You know you won't get a public and you know what she sits on? The Board of Education in the town of Newington. And not one official, including Mayor John Twister and John Astle, the town manager, you cannot find a public statement related to that.
So it sounds like this is a classic case of these guys have everything to say about stuff that they don't know about, but the things that they do, they completely go silent.
You got it, bingo. I mean, think about that. You had a Board of Ed member, and they asked the best they could do with her. And this is about their politics. Newington's a dirty town. One other time, I'll let you know a couple of things. But they're really dirty.
If you're moving, Mark, real quick, Mark, if you're moving a little bit, you're sounding a little muffled, so I want everybody to be able to hear you. I'm sorry about that, buddy.
I'm sorry about that.
There you go. Perfect.
They're really dirty. But can I tell you this one thing? I just had somebody DM me. I'm not going to out him. But this is how sad the Republican Party, because I've been mentioning Anastasia Yap on my Mark from West Hartford on Twitter.
Yeah.
I just got a DM. Just so you know, Anastasia is a Republican, which I know. Again, she's a fraud. And we don't need the black eye, and nobody wants to be sued or accused of racism. That's how weak the Republican Party is.
What?
They should want to out her. I'm unaffiliated. Why am I out here? They should want to kick her out of their party, too. They should have been up in arms in Newington, shutting the water off a single mom with 2 young kids. Where's the Republican Party in Newington? You're telling me not to make a big deal about this thing and tying it in?
And the crazy part is that by hiding it, here's the thing, right? By no one speaking out on it ahead of, like, in other words, getting ahead of it, right? Saying nothing about it. And then when the story becomes a big story that they have to defend, then they will throw her under the bus accordingly, right? So this is one of those things where they have to get ahead of. And look, whoever it was who sent you the DM, you know what? I would tell them, you know what? Give them my cell phone number. Tell them to contact me. No. Tell them to contact me immediately.
You know I'm always working on stuff, and this just happens to be a coincidence. I swear to God, it just happened last week, and I'm working on it to verify it, but it sounds like it's legit. They cannot find Anastasia Yap. She dropped off her dog at a kennel. It's been there for 50 days.
I haven't heard from her.
2 months.
I haven't heard from her.
And she abandoned a pet. This lady, but yet here we are. We're making comments about, I mean, I could go on and on. One other day, though, I'm going to tell you all about a big story that was on the news a few years ago about Newington. But let me tell you, I'm glad somebody's putting a spotlight on Newington because they've been dirty for a number of years, and very quietly they get away with it because they border Hartford. All the news is concentrated over there. They need sunlight over there.
Yeah, again, the bottom line on this one was, and you know what, I'll tell you this, Mark, and while I got you on the phone. So when I called Jonathan and I get him on the phone, the thing that I could not understand was, he said, what don't you understand about the statement? And I said, again and again, what is the mayor deeply concerned about? And he couldn't answer it. The statement is what it is. I was like, no, what are you not getting? I just need to know what specifically he's deeply concerned about. The statement is the statement. Then he starts arguing with me, and so I'm arguing back. Hold on. I start arguing back, and he says to me, why are you yelling at me? I said, you're the one making this, like you're the one who's being adversarial. He goes, well, you can spin it any way you want to. I was like, I'm calling you. How are you going to tell me I can spin it any way I want to, and I'm calling you to get a statement, and you don't want to give me one?
When they answer you, when anybody, and everybody knows these red flags are easy, but when you get your question answered with a question.
Exactly.
That's the classic red flag.
I'm like, dude, do you not understand? Like you, and again, I know that he realized it. It's like, what is he deeply concerned about? His constituents. He's telling them he's deeply concerned.
Let me leave you with this, Reese. The way he talked to you, what else does that tell you? Because I always think of this. When people talk to me the way you were talked to, he's used to doing that all the time.
Exactly.
That wasn't a one-off.
I know.
He didn't talk to you today that way just because, you caught him at a bad moment. No, he's used to talking to the public and taxpayers like that in his own town.
That's exactly what I told him. I said, you guys have never been questioned. I said, you're clearly showing me that you've never been questioned by anyone, and you owe an answer to your constituents about what you are deeply concerned about. You are the one who sent out, we're deeply concerned. Well, what should your constituents be deeply concerned about? What should Newington be afraid of or deeply concerned about? And if you don't know...
Yeah, and not for nothing, he could have fluffed it.
Exactly.
Right? I could give you 5 things that are off the beaten path and just kind of tie it.
Exactly. You know what Roseanne said? Roseanne said, you know what Roseanne said? Roseanne says, were they deeply concerned that the car wash water may be laced with Dequat? Like, how deeply concerned were they? You know? They were asking. So, like, it could have been anything. Just answer the damn question.
We could go back to the beginning of my call. Maybe they're going to miss their $60 details.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later, brother.
You got it, boss man. Thank you, man. Mark in West Hartford on the line. Let's get to another Mark. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Yeah, he's right. When those guys do the detail on your car and they're using clay bar, that's like $300 to $350 detailing. So.
Yeah, it's a great service, and it makes sense.
But
I
do it legally. I do it legally through a friend, and he does clay bar, and he charges $300. But
really, does your personal friend charge you $300 to do it?
Oh yeah. But it's worth it. He's so meticulous. My car's coming up on 7 years old. It looks showroom new. He does such a great job.
Wow.
So I recommend him all the time.
I think you just did.
Yeah, absolutely. I post it on Facebook every year. Like I said, the car looks showroom new. Hey,
stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Let's go to Jim in Berlin calling the show. Hello, Jim. How are you?
Good. How are you, Reese?
What's going on, sir?
Well, Reese, I want to just commend you for doing a great job collecting the news and reporting it accurately.
Thank you, sir.
Really, you do a fabulous job. This morning, one of your counterparts, Bryant, at 7:25, got on his soapbox about this incident in Newington, and he went off. He just went off. He linked it to Nazism. Yes, he used that term. He says, this is what happened in Germany. I don't want to be back 20 years looking at hindsight. And I hate to break the news to him. You know, my next door neighbors were in the concentration camp. So I know what it's like there, and I've been there. And this is not what we're dealing with. As I see it, if people break the law and they're here illegally, ICE will only go after them in a court order. And they've been served their due process. And, yeah, I hate to say it, Reese, this is a sanctuary state, so why should Brian be so upset?
I don't. Well, one, I have to hear the context. I shouldn't say context. I want to listen to the audio, but you said, just so I get it accurately, you said what time of the day was it?
7:25.
Okay, 7:25. Okay, I will listen to it. I'm usually doing other things roughly about that hour, so I know I missed it because I was doing other things. But See, maybe I'm looking at this from a different perspective, and I'm not the type of sort of throwing under the bus and all that stuff. He's a teammate of mine, but
sure,
he and I have disagreed. I mean, like epically on a lot of things, talking about people of color and things like that. We don't agree. I understand he is, he considers me very conservative. He considers himself very neutral or down the middle. But that only reason why I'm saying, because I want to listen to it. But if he indeed, that's the point of view that he has, I almost feel, I don't know. I don't have a feeling for it. Let me just say, I take it as maybe that is a misrepresentation of what went on. And perhaps he is taking the route of the mayor in this. And what I mean is, as I described it, the mayor says in his own statement, he doesn't know anything, right? So if that's the case, right, the press doesn't know anything, the media, nobody knows anything, the mayor doesn't know anything. They were given a courtesy that said, hey, we went down to Optimo Car Wash and we grabbed these guys, and, they're in ICE custody. But for all of these people not to know anything and then come up with these editorialized answers to them by saying this is like Nazi Germany without even knowing who was picked up, why they were picked up, and what are the conditions in which they were, sounds reckless to me. So I'm going to listen to the audio. In fact, I'm going to take some time during like one of the top of the hour break to listen to it so I can get a full assessment. I think what might be appropriate here is maybe I should come on Bryant's show and we can have a discussion, because if he feels that way, I want to talk to him about it. I do. I really do. Okay. Because I think it's fair for him to understand where he's coming from, and maybe he can understand where the audience is coming from who think that, this shouldn't be a sanctuary city. But I appreciate the call, Jim. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You got it. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Wait a minute, Mark Christopher, you were there this morning. Do you remember Brian having this conversation about what went on, or did you miss it?
The Newington thing with the ice, I think he did speak about it, but I'm popping between three stations, so I didn't get to hear the whole thing. But I do know about the story.
All right. Well, you do. I know he brought it up, but it's a big story. So, but I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to cast aspersions on him. Maybe he had a particular angle that I'm missing here, or maybe and on radio it's misunderstood. But I'm going to listen to it I can get a breakdown of what his position was on it. Because I'm like, it sounds like nobody knows what happened. So it's weird for me. I'm trying to figure out how anybody can have a position on something they seem to be in the dark about. They just know 7 guys were arrested. That's all I'm trying to understand.
Right.
It's like I have an opinion. I don't know about these guys or why they were picked up. But anyway, we'll figure it out. All right.
You got to get the background story before you can make a judgment on it.
Pretty much.
I got to tell you, though, that kid that got taken away in New Haven, the kid's supposed to be a really good student, a good kid. He was working.
Yeah.
And they took him away. I'm like,
that's not the kid that went in with his father, right? No, that was in Meriden. I apologize. That wasn't that guy. That's a separate one.
I think the kid was from New Haven. That kind of kid you want to be here. He's exactly the kind of immigrant you want. So some of this stuff, the violent guys, I'm like, we got enough violent people. Get them out of here. But people even if they're here illegally and they're doing the right thing, and I don't know. I have a little
There should be a
problem with
pathway to citizenship if they can prove
I don't know why could they do it for our great grandparents, but they can't do it now. I don't know why they can't come up with an agreement with some path for legalized immigration. That's what bothers me the most
I hear
about
you.
all this.
The NAACP calls him, whoa, I don't think I'm allowed to read this. It's Reese on the radio. Let's just say some people are not fans. On News Talk 1080, WTIC.
We're back. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC. What am I supposed to do in this break? Oh, I've got to talk about Cracker Barrel. I've got to get into that. And this is an important conversation, but let me get these 2 phone calls real quick, and then I'll talk about that. Let's go to Joe in New Hampshire. How you doing, Wall Street?
Hi, you could take this one to the bank. Those ICE members would not have gone to the car wash if there wasn't at least one of those 6 with a bad history, whatever.
Yes.
Other ones might have been collateral damage. I'm not saying all 6, but at least one of them is somebody you wouldn't want out on the street. You can take that to the bank.
I don't listen. I take a look, even what Mark Christopher said that about the kid in New Haven. Look, of course you feel awful for that. But you know what? That kid being on the up and up, right? That kid's going to school. He's working. He's probably, again, with the exception of the fact that he came over came into the country illegally. Outside of that, he has probably been a model citizen. But we have to consider, with everything that's going on, if he didn't take the proper measures to get him to stay, then I got to say, look, it wasn't like you weren't warned. In fact, every advocate for illegal immigration in this country has been telling people, stay in the house, don't go anywhere, do your due diligence. So it wasn't like people weren't warned. But, I mean, I get where he's coming from. But go ahead. I'm sorry. What was the last thing?
Oh, the Connecticut taxpayers are footing the bill from the time he started in the Connecticut school system. He gets free college and tuition.
Mm-hmm.
That has to trickle down to people like me. When I lived in Connecticut, I'm paying more in taxes than I would have if none of this was going on. But anyway, the main reason why I called, are you going to announce it Friday, or can I mention your relationship with ICE, you personally?
What's my relationship with ICE?
Oh, well, in September, ICE is going to keep expanding. So every state is going to have a spokesperson to come out with the number of apprehensions. And they're going to call it the State Information Specialist for ICE under Christy Nome. Get a $50,000 bonus.
Is that for me? Is that my job now?
You get a $50,000 bonus, and you can have them on as guests. You can still keep your radio show. That's what they like about making you czar of Connecticut.
I don't want them to do that, because then people will say it's a conflict of interest. I don't want any parts of that. But you know what? As much as I would love the paycheck, I can't do it just for integral reasons. I can't do it. But I appreciate you, Joe. Let
$50,000 bonus.
Well, I as much as I would want to take it, because my wife would look at me crazy sideways if I didn't, but I can't take it. Thank you, Joe. Let's get to Fred in Middletown. How are you, sir?
Hey, good. Two quick shots. So that, another iteration on the end when they came for me. So FEMA fabricated portable pop-up detention centers for American citizens who would bend the knee. And I said nothing because I was neither patriotic or a citizen. And then they put me in one. What? Yeah, Rudy made the point. That whole thing is scary as hell. And, yeah, I mean, this is, it's just bad. And it's that classic Hegelian dialectic. You allow chaos.
Exactly.
And you're thankful for so that. And then just closing with, Rush Limbaugh is everybody's hero, but he was an actor. That wasn't the real him. And he dropped some key, false information, he focused on we got to get the executive, when now we know that local is where it's at. Right?
Hey, now. I appreciate you.
That's it. Thank you, brother.
You got it. Good one, Fred. I like that. Later on, I got some statistics I want to get into on the crime rates in major cities across the country. And that's it's an important stat to get out, because you have a lot of people spreading a lot of nonsense. And I'm not going to call it misinformation. It's just a lot of nonsense. But I wanted to get into this Cracker Barrel thing. And it's meant, look, it has turned into a joke. Its stock is plummeted, as it's supposed to, because that's what happens when these folks abandon their base. And we've seen this over and over again. It's the same story over and over again. And I don't know if I've expressed this to you before, but I want a special group of individuals to hear what I am about to say. And they know who they are, and I hope the right people are listening. So, folks, this is my Cracker Barrel monologue. Cracker Barrel does not want to do business with you. They don't like you. At least now they don't. They used to love you. They used to care about you and used to care about feeding you at their restaurants. They cared about you buying their knickknacks in their little gift shop. They cared about Southern fried steak. I'm not a fan, but millions of you are. Plenty of you have gone there. Plenty of you have enjoyed that establishment. Some of you take family members when they come into town to your favorite one, because either the chef or the waitress or just the community in and of itself, it's a great place to go. Roland will tell you about Waffle House at another time. He travels across the country to find a Waffle House. Cracker Barrel is the same thing. It's an institution like IHOP. People go there because they're familiar with it. But Cracker Barrel doesn't want to do business with you anymore. It's decided that it's going to do business with people who never go there, who've never shown an interest in their product. They think they are more important than you. They are behaving like 16-year-old girls on Instagram. They want likes, not customers. They want to be socially accepted, not be profitable. They hate you and the brand. That's why they changed it. That's why they made it unrecognizable. That's the reason why they lied and told you that their response was overwhelmingly good, and then after the fact found out that they hated it. And it may be too late for them to turn around, because the person that's most important are its patrons, the people who have spent their money, who invested their money and their livelihoods in the restaurant. I love Cracker Barrel. I remember getting an argument not too long ago about Cracker Barrel. I was like, you go to Cracker Barrel? Oh, man, that place is great. This was only 2 weeks ago. I said, I don't go to Cracker Barrel. I was like, you ain't never had the grits at Cracker Barrel? I was like, I don't do grits. I'm like, man, you don't know what you're missing. Well, guess what Cracker Barrel is going to be missing now? That guy who was yelling at me about Cracker Barrel. He's gone now. That guy was trying to convince me to go. That guy was your word of mouth. That guy was your advertiser. That guy was working for you to get other people to go there. He celebrated you, and you shunned him. They no longer want to do business with you. They don't understand that model. The sponsors here at this network understand it ain't about me, it ain't about Bryant, it ain't about Brian Kilmeade, it ain't about Eric Erickson, it is about you. When they do business with WTIC, they are doing business with you. And when they don't do business with you, they've decided they don't want you. You are the person with the disposable income. You are the one who trusts the host when the host says, buy this product. Go to this store. Not only because the host has tried said product or has gone to said establishment, because he comes with it with a degree of credibility. I've done it. If a company comes in and they've got zip lines, I'm afraid of heights. But guess what? If they ask me to come down there and do the zip line and I experience it, I'm going to come in here and say, yo, I had the greatest experience in the world. I'm afraid of heights, and I did their zip line, and that zip line was amazing. You all need to try it. And if you're afraid of heights, trust me, they care about you, and they want you to have a great experience, and they help you with your fear. I would come here and explain that to you. Why? That's who they're doing business with. They, through me, are doing business with you. And Cracker Barrel doesn't care. So don't care. I see everybody online screaming and hollering, talking about Cracker Barrel. Look at what they did, man. I can't believe they would change it. Believe it. They don't want to do business with you. Why would you pine for someone who doesn't want you? Why would you be moaning and groaning about somebody who has pretty much dismissed you? After all of your years of dedication and love for a product, for them to turn around and say, we're going to go in a different direction because those people are not our kind of people. Okay. It's time to break up. Can I have my favorite sweater now? I'm going to move on. No, keep the jewelry I bought you. Those were gifts. You just have to understand that's what it is. There's nothing to be mad about. You don't even have to be outraged. You were never going to get that Southern fried steak again. You were never going to get it, not the way that you used to get it. You're never going to get the hospitality that you used to get at Cracker Barrel. It's over. They don't like who they are, so they chose to become something else. And this is far worse than your, considerable other, your significant other, changing their hairstyle. They changed everything. I mean, they literally transitioned on you. And then when you don't go, what do you think they're going to do afterwards? They're going to call you a bigot and a racist and a homophobe because you don't want to be a part of their newfound, wokeness. They'll only do what a jilted lover would do, berate you, which shows and quantifies the fact that they never, ever loved you in the first place. They start off by just saying, we're thinking about a change. To the point where they just say they don't want you at all. I remember someone saying that when a woman doesn't want me, I don't want them more. It's a little crass, but that's what you need to deal with, how you deal with Cracker Barrel. Well, they don't want you, so don't want them more. Take your business elsewhere. There are plenty of establishments who are seeing their opportunity, begging you to try them. Maybe some places you've never tried before. What's that guy's name? Bob Evans? Yeah. Bob Evans has got a country-style menu. Why not take another trip down to IHOP? There are plenty of establishments that are community-oriented, where people you know in your community work and eat. Cracker Barrel, let them figure it out. Let's find out how many LGBTQ, transgender piercings throughout the face people show up at the new establishment.
Decline of 34% since she took over.
Yes, decline.
$250 million loss in company stock value.
Yeah, all of that.
Jeez.
Just wait until they start begging you to come back. Just wait until they say, we were wrong. And you respond, we weren't.
Man, these chicken tenders are fire. I ain't going to lie.
Roland is... Hey, I'm sorry, Roland. They don't want to do business with you anymore. They don't want to make chicken fingers for you anymore. It's time to say goodbye. What's the line what's the line in Age of Ultron where Jarvis says to Ultron, just because something's beautiful doesn't mean that it lasts. And now it's over. Just reminisce. Let's get another check of traffic and weather. Bob Larson's got your meteorology weather thingy. Mark Christopher is in a BPS traffic center.
Meteorology weather thingy. All right, I like that. It's an interesting description there, Reese. We know what you're talking about.
That was called butchering. That was the classic butchering of that man's job.
And coming from the Weather Center. Hey, if you are heading toward Hartford right now, no problems with weather, and traffic's actually doing pretty well, too. Westbound 94, tied up East Hartford, approaching the Bulkley Bridge.
The Monstars stole your power for a minute.
46 into the tunnel. Southbound 91, you're losing speed in Hartford, 33 to 32. Again, down by exit 28. Again, some slow traffic, 19 down to 17 in Meriden. Northbound side of 91 moving well. Cromwell through downtown up in a Winter. 291 through 84 okay. 2 westbound slowing 1D up to the 84 West merge. Quiet Middletown. 84 westbound in Waterbury slows 23 to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound a little tight by 23 in Waterbury. 84 eastbound Danbury slowing New York, Connecticut line out to 5. Again from exit 8 in Danbury up to exit 9 in Newtown. A little slow again up by exit 11 on the eastbound side of 84 as you move into Newtown. Now, if you're traveling southbound in the Parkway, you've got delays 61 into the West Rock Tunnel. Northbound Parkway slows 59 into the tunnel. 95 southbound delays 46 to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
WTIC weather.
Sun and some clouds the remainder of this afternoon with a stray thunderstorm. High 83. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, cooling down to low of 58 overnight. Pleasant tomorrow, low humidity. A good deal of sunshine, a few puffy clouds, a little breezy at times. Tomorrow's high 77. Partly cloudy tomorrow night, low of 56, and even cooler across outlying areas. Wednesday looks nice, a good deal of sunshine, low humidity, and a high of 76. I'm Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford and Odyssey Station.
5 o'clock, Hartford temperature 83 degrees. I'm John Silva. WTIC 1080 News. One person is dead following a shooting this afternoon in New Haven. Officers were called to Dickerson Street. One other person was wounded. There's no word on identities of those involved, suspects, or a motive. A report from the Connecticut Inspector General says Bridgeport police officer was justified in using deadly force last year to stop a man coming at him with knives in both hands.
Hey, brother. Do me. Hey, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. 17.
Police were called to Birdseye Street early on May 16th, 2024, on a report Dale Stevenson was acting erratically. The report says Officer Israel Colon opened fire when Stevenson didn't drop the knives. On command, as you heard there, he was wounded in the arm and leg, treated for his injuries. Stevenson has since recovered and is facing multiple charges. Investigators in Southington still trying to figure out what sparked a deadly fire early this morning in town. Multiple 911 calls were made to report the house fire on Chaffee Lane. The person who died was the only one in the home at the time, they say. The house was fully involved by the time firefighters arrived on scene. Erica McAllister tells WFSB the house was well known to the locals.
We see it all the time. We walk by all the time, and we were always looking at it thinking it was so gorgeous and such a wonderful location. And then just to see that happen is just so very sad.
The victim was pronounced dead at the scene. Southington firefighters were assisted by crews from Bristol and Meriden. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is being detained after he showed up for an appointment at a Baltimore field office. Cammie McCormick reports.
Attorney General Pam Bondi.
We've got him under control. He will no longer terrorize our country.
Garcia's attorney, Simon Sandoval Motionberg.
We asked the ICE officer what the reason for his detention was. The ICE officer didn't answer. The ICE officer stated that he'll be taken to a detention center. We asked the ICE officer which detention center. The ICE officer said that they weren't able to say.
He has since been moved to a Virginia detention center while the legal battle plays out.
An airstrike that killed 20 in Gaza, including 5 journalists, is being called a tragic mishap by Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said the 2 strikes on Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis was a tragic mishap and that the military is investigating. The Hamas-affiliated Gaza Health Ministry said the first strike hit an upper floor of the hospital. Officials said most of the deaths came in the second strike when Israeli planes hit an external stairway as rescuers and journalists rushed toward the scene of the first strike.
Reporter Linda Gradstein in Jerusalem. More kids are going to school hungry, and top state Democrats say federal budget cuts will only make things worse. The budget bill signed last month by President Trump slashes food assistance, meaning the families of students who can no longer access school lunch for free will have trouble feeding them at home. Senator Chris Murphy spoke at the state capitol this afternoon.
There are going to be fewer kids getting food in school, and there are going to be more kids showing up to school hungry and going to bed at night hungry because of the unconscionable cuts in the Republican budget bill to the food stamp program.
End Hunger Connecticut says 12,000 students are now having to pay for meals that were free last year. That's after the state chose not to compensate for the expiration of federal dollars. Wall Street, the Dow down 349 points, the NASDAQ down 47, S&P lost 27 points today. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenics Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text SAVVY to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenics Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenics Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator. You get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text SAVVY to 42424. That's SAVVY to 42424.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I'm sorry, I was listening to the. I finally found the damn audio that I was looking for, and it was taking me a minute. I was like, why am I not being able to find this? I finally found it, so I'll take an opportunity to listen to it in a little bit. Yeah, it's Reese on the radio. We are back. News Talk 1080 WTIC. There it is right there. It's time to do it. It's Hollywood News. You know I love Hollywood News. And I think some sports enthusiasts are going to be excited about this particular story. Let me grab my Hollywood News because it was in front of me. Roland, you, I know for a fact, are going to be interested in this Hollywood News because it involves somebody that I know that you like and admire. Kobe Bryant. I'm assuming you like him? You're a fan?
I wasn't a fan of Kobe.
What?
I appreciated and respected
how
good he was.
Absolutely.
He wasn't one of my favorite.
He wasn't one of my favorite either because, of course, he played against my Boston Celtics, and I was actually at the game where Celtics won that championship series. I'll never forget it. But Kobe,
I was so happy. That was with Garnett, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was so happy.
It was an amazing run for the big three: Garnett, Pierce, and Allen. Was Bosh on that team at that time?
No,
Bosh wasn't there. Yeah, Bosh wasn't there. But I remember that, and oh man, Ray Allen had one of the most amazing games with just all of those threes. He was dominating those threes back before they became popular. But this movie news, try this on for size. A film project centered around the NBA superstar Kobe Bryant's journey to the Los Angeles Lakers has landed at Warner Brothers. The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed that Alex Sohn and Gavin Johansson penned a screenplay for a movie called With the Eighth Pick, which follows the high-stakes process that led Kobe Bryant to getting drafted into the NBA in 1996. The project was generating high interest from other studios and streamers before Warner stepped in to preemptively nab it. They say the eighth pick is set to focus on the New Jersey Nets, and their general manager, John Nash, who held the eighth pick in the draft and considered taking Kobe Bryant out of high school. They liken it to Moneyball, and The Social Network is that theme. So I think
I heard it last night.
Oh, you heard about this last night?
Yep.
Oh, man, this is great. Anyway, let's get to another check of traffic and weather. Bob Larson's got weather with the meteorologist thing. And Mark Christmas in the BPS Traffic Center. You'd go see this movie of Kobe Bryant. Come on, you're a basketball fan.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would love to see this. Again, he was a rival against but I used to tell him when he used to kill us in games, like regular season games, I remember shouting at the TV and how good he was. It was just annoying, but you got to respect that talent.
Yep.
Absolutely. I've got to. I got to tell you, I just started watching the Diana Taurasi thing. I don't know.
Oh, right, the documentary. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the first one. I think there might be three, but very. Mm-hmm. She is intense, man.
Some reports that I'm hearing that people are very surprised at this documentary. And in the sense of getting some inside track on who she is and how she thinks. that people are like, wow, like we didn't know this. So
one
it's
of the
very
greatest
enlightening.
of all time in
Indeed.
the women's game, no question about that. But yeah, she doesn't mess around. Boy,
I have
I'll
a
tell you
crazy crush on her, by the way.
Do you really?
Yeah, I've always had a crush on Diana Taurasi.
Well, there you go. There's a lot to like there. There really
Indeed.
is.
Oh, hold still. This is only going to hurt a little. It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Okay, I've had the opportunity to listen to much of what Brian Shackman said this morning on his program. There's a lot to unpack. So here's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to even let him know. I'm going to send him an email to let him know. I'm going to take his comments. I'm going to parse them and do an opening monologue. His concerns for him are valid. And now that I understand what he was talking about, and a caller who said that he was comparing what was going on to Nazi Germany, he was fair. That's kind of where Brian was going. And how do I put it? I understand why Brian is going in the route that he's going about this. But instead of calling it misguided, what I need to do is to understand what he says and then how he counters it. Let me go this far, okay? When you say we don't know why these people are being picked up and then say that I don't want to go back 20 years later, I don't want to go 20 years later and find out that it was this thing that we will go back and be embarrassed upon, suggests that is the direction it may go in. It's putting your thumb on the scale of what we're seeing. And look, I understand that people coming into the country illegally and then coming here and working seems like it's, no big deal to a lot of people. Like, it doesn't seem like a big deal. Sure, there's a perspective to have that says, look, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And then after the fact, seeing them being pulled away from them after they've been here for so long, that can touch some compassionate strings in the heart. It could be like, but they've been here so long and it doesn't seem like they were doing anything. But when you don't know what they're being pulled out of the country for, even there are spates of this person, like the New Haven guy that Mark Christopher was talking about, or even the kid at the Meriden High School, who went in with his father and he was a valedictorian or, got all these, these accolades at school and he ended up going. But no one ever tells you why they're going. They just know it just doesn't look good. I understand that when you don't know, it gives you an opportunity to say whatever you want or to believe whatever you want. We don't know what happened to these people. But then when you then take the leap and say, what if this is like Nazi Germany, isn't giving this fair play? It could very well be for good reasons these people were sent out of the country. But no one is giving that, or at least in Brian's case, he wasn't giving that the fair play. He was saying, well, it could be that they were criminals, but all the rest, what about those? And that's the focus. It's warrant. I get it. I totally get where he's coming from. The comparisons to Nazi Germany, I don't know. I think that may be inflammatory, but some people do see it that way. So I'm going to address it and I'm going to call him. I'm going to send him a message to say, hey, listen, someone called about the commentary this morning or yesterday morning about the show, and I want to dissect it, and I want to give you fair play, and, I hope that, to be honest with you, I hope Brian would want to come on the show and we could have a discussion about it. Because, how do I put this? I'm not understanding what they're protecting. Like, exactly. Another comment he makes in there is talking about they're paying their taxes. No, they're not, Brian. No, they're not. They can't. In order to pay their taxes, they must be documented. They must have a birth certificate and a Social Security card. That's how all of us are tracked when it comes to paying taxes. Now, if you're talking about simple purchase taxes, like groceries or cars or whatever they're able to buy, paying their taxes, that's something they cannot avoid. Okay? And a small swath of them have what's called these tax ID numbers. Most of them don't. And so they don't pay taxes. They don't fill out their tax forms and send them in before April 15th. Okay? Everybody knows that. So this added on, they pay their taxes? No, they don't. They don't. Not a large swath of them at all. So that's misrepresented. So, but like I said, look, of course, that's his opinion. That's what he thinks about it. Of course, he has every right to. That's the point. But you don't have to be upset about that he thinks that. You don't have to be outraged at it. There are plenty of people who agree with Bryant. They do. But it begs, sometimes that discussion has to be made. Okay, you believe this. Tell me why this is like Nazi Germany. It's because you see these people as persecuted Jews? Tell me how. Do you think these people are ending up in concentration camps and having experiments done on them? Are you saying that these people end up in some sort of camp where they are now then gassed to death? Is that what are the comparisons to Nazi Germany that I don't understand? Because those are a couple of examples that we know aren't happening. They're just being sent home. Did Hitler send all the Jews back to Israel? To Jerusalem? No. They were killed, murdered in the millions. There is no comparison to have here at all. It's not off the beaten path to compare this to Nazism or Nazis. It is absolutely wrong. That's not what's happening to these folks at all. That's all. It's just as simple as that. So, and again, that's not just to Brian, that's to everyone. There is no Nazi comparison to be had. Okay? Even Barack Obama treated these folks worse than Donald Trump did. Seriously, I know you witnessed that. They went in cages. Barack Obama deported more people than anybody. He was called the deporter-in-chief. Why wasn't there any Nazi comparison then? Why wasn't anybody saying? And again, that was in 2014. Here we are 10 years later. Why isn't anyone talking about Barack Obama's deportation of illegals and turning that into the next big Nazi thing? No. In retrospect, there has been no comparison to Barack Obama being a Nazi or the actions of his Department of Homeland Security doing Nazi-like things, keeping them in cages and deporting them. Some of them being deported right at the border, not allowed to have asylum. So again, that part of making this is like that, and I'm reading this book about Germany, and it's a leap. I'm just saying it is, fairly, it's a leap. But I understand the passion behind it because it seems cruel if you're looking at it from a certain perspective. Now, I'm going to say, just from my point of view, I really, really don't care if people see it a particular way. It should have never been allowed to happen, and it was. And now that somebody allowed it to happen, something must be done about it. So you had no argument about the influx, and we're talking hundreds of thousands of people. You had no words, and I'm not talking about Bryant, I'm just talking about people who didn't have anything to say about it. The influx of illegals into the country had nothing to say about it. Argued that we had a porous border or that the border was secure or not secure. And now people are saying, sorry, you got in, but you got in illegally, now you got to go home. And the only thing you care about is the fact that they have to go back, which in essence is saying that you're okay with them being here. You're okay with the thousands of dollars that each one has received and the billions of dollars it costs taxpayers. And you're saying that we should eat that. And some of us are saying no. But if you don't want to have that debate and you just want us to abide by you, how is that a democracy? Which, again, what all of this is about, right? At the end of the day, it's about a democracy. So don't we who oppose migrants and illegals in the country have a say? Or do we not get to have a say because if we do, it has to be compared to Germany a la 1939? That's all. I hope I made some sort of point. But we'll break it down. Let's go to Tom. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm well. Hey, I wanted to make a comment on the Republican guy running for New Haven, but two quick statements. Morning Bryant saying that he's a moderate or middle of the road is as ridiculous as me saying I'm a kangaroo.
I don't. Well, okay, that's him calling himself an independent is subjective. He does get to say that he is an independent. You may not interpret him as one, but he gets to say it.
He's an independent liberal. I agree with that.
Okay.
And I don't have a problem with anything he says. I just have a problem with him keep saying he's a moderate and a middle of the road guy because he's.
But I look at it. I say Brian. When Brian says that he's an independent, I look at it as, you know, who gets to determine if he is? Does he do or do we do? I kind of feel like he's really got the right. He's got the right of first refusal. But he does. He has the right. If he thinks he's an independent, I don't think I can speak to. I can't tell him he's something different. I have to take him at his word.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm critical of Mark. You know, when it comes to him and the Republican leaders, I admit that. But he is probably the best investigative reporter the state has. And all the reporters that get paid should be embarrassed that he is better than them.
Damn. Mark, I hope you heard that and recorded it. Because you're 100% right. And listen to me, I hooked my wagon to Mark in West Hartford from the day I got here. He was the first person I saw that was out there doing the thing. And all I wanted to do was, one, I needed to incorporate him and to sort of get him to sort of like fashion himself. He's gotten so much better in the last year and has been on point. And like a lot of people thought he was scattered all over the place, but he has been like precision as this last year. I really respect Mark and what he does. He loves the work he's doing.
Yeah, and it shows he's good at it.
Absolutely.
All right, so that real quick on the guy running, he one statement he said really stuck with me because it's exactly what I believe. The state is really red. It's only a few sections: New Haven, Hartford,
Bridgeport,
Stanford, Waterbury. The rest of the state is red.
Right.
How do we get those cities? Is there a way, Reese, to get those cities to change?
The black and Hispanic vote. It is all we got. And just like I told Steve Orozco, he has got to get to that electorate. He has to. And he has to tell them, and he's doing it. But he's got to go another length. Because, look, what have we known? I started the show, Tom, talking about the growth in those spaces between Republicans and Democrats. Democrats lost 2.1 million while Republicans gained 2.4. And the numbers that they're finding, that there was a growing number of black males and Latino males. Now, where are those folks usually? They're not in the suburbs. They're in places like New Haven, Bridgeport, in Stanford, in Hartford. That's where you have to go because guess what? Those folks are online and on Instagram and on Twitter, and I am seeing in all of those places a growing number of people who are calling out Democrats for doing the one thing that they promised and make their lives better, and they haven't. They've chastised them for actually being breadwinners, for wanting to be wealthy, to want to take care of themselves, and they also have history on their side. They're learning how Democrats have made them dependent on government, and they're realizing they don't want any parts of it. That's why Donald Trump has gained grounds in that place. So in those cities, we have to follow suit, because on a national level, if Trump's doing it, we got to do it locally.
Then we need to get like a coalition of minorities, gay and lesbian, get them to lead like a pack or something to really put the word out, because they don't the inner city people don't want to listen to an old fat white guy like me. You got to get that right voice.
Tom, let
out
me
there.
let me tell you this. That's the mission when we get there. is that I'm going to be going through every one of those neighborhoods, and I'm going to be talking to every one of those folks, not just to get them to listen to the show, but to also listen to these ideas. I got to take a break, but thank you, Tom. I appreciate you. You got it.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
We're back. Reese on the radio. What happened was we talked about the Democrats losing so much ground in some of the swing states. We also talked about the double standard. Also, we got into the Newington Mayor John Trister, who says he's concerned but doesn't seem to know what about. And then I got into an argument with Jonathan Etchell, the town manager, in a phone call this morning or early afternoon, where he couldn't seem to answer the question either. But to my Bryant commentary, like I said, tomorrow I'm going to cut up the audio so that I can discuss it. Okay, but I'm reading the comments here, and they're not happy with me, apparently. So let's read a few. Matteo says, really, Reese? Are they stealing their wealth and putting them in concentration camps? You should not defend such an absurd comment. I know he's on the same station, but if he really said that, what is that? Oh, if he really said that, he's an idiot. I don't know what he said, but I will play it. I mean, I should say, I know what he said, and I will play it tomorrow so you can hear it for yourself. If you haven't, you can check it out. Mario says, to compare anything to Nazi Germany is degrading to anyone or any family that went through that horror. Look, I just listened to it. He says, listen, this is my opinion. I haven't spoken out on it, and he's speaking out on it. He's not asking anybody to change their opinion. Again, I stand by his right to give his opinion. It doesn't matter if he's informed, misinformed, or if he's making a stretch, which clearly he is. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It is a stretch to compare what's happening with illegals to anything in Nazi Germany, okay? And I think I made that clear. Steve L. says, twisting yourself into a pretzel to defend that progressive snowflake. Come on, Reese. Again, what's with the name calling? I'm not twisting myself. I want to play it for you so that I know what, or you know what I am answering to. If you haven't heard it, you need to hear it too. If you haven't heard it, then you really don't know exactly what I'm twisting myself into, unless, of course, you heard it, which I'm hoping that you did. And yeah, Matteo says, don't defend the undefendable. There's nothing to defend. He has a right to believe what he believes. Again, it's not about whether or not he's right or he's wrong. It's an opinion. I stand by his right to have that opinion. And that's all it is. It's not making the statement doesn't make it fact. He sees it a particular way. I mean, it is. So I almost feel bad because I feel like I have to play it so you can understand where I'm coming from. I listen to it and I just kind of go, yeesh. I mean, it's a weird place to see it, especially while saying I don't understand why anymore. Again, and I will put it this way. If you want me to be harsh, let's be harsh. Here's where I'll go. Bryant admits that he doesn't know the reasons why these individuals were arrested in Newington. He doesn't. But he says that he doesn't want to go 20 years down the road finding out that it was something really, really horrible that we should have defended. Okay. That's where it goes. So let's just say I'm going to respond to it from that point of view. Okay? Now, let's get back to weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS traffic. Bob Larson, of course, is with weather. But Mark Christopher is in the BPS traffic center. I'm just defending the guy's, not his position, but his right to have it. Am I off the beaten path here?
No. Of course you can have an opinion.
Of course he can. That's all I'm saying.
There you go.
I think I'm not going to lie. It was a little wild, though. I was listening. But you know what it is? I listened to his voice. I've never heard Brian sound this particular way, ever. He was very passionate about this because his concern, well, at least in his voice, sounds real. And if your backdrop is this could turn out to be a very horrible practice, and you're expressing your concern in a very dire way, I get why, because the way the caller said it was like he seemed like he was waxing poetic in a very excitable way. I listened to his voice, and I'm like, okay, he sounds like he's really concerned. And that's where it's coming from. Maybe, in his view, he's trying to come from a prudent and practical way that, look, we don't want to find out later on that the wrong people were being moved and hurt and harmed in any particular way, and that's what his concern is. Legitimate.
Absolutely.
That's
Legitimate concern. I mean, yeah. Hey, if you're heading in...
What's up, everybody? You know who it is. You know who it is. You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
And we are back. Reese on the radio. More news and more views than you could shake a stick at. I did not even get into the Chris Murphy thing, which I will save for tomorrow. Let me do this, and I'll give you a teaser before we get to the phone calls and then wrap up the show. I can't believe we're already there. So you all know that, I call myself the president of the Chris Murphy fan club, and all that stuff. And I take a lot of shots at him, just because. But if I can give a little bit of background on this. So I noticed something way ahead of time. And it was the same thing that I knew about Black Lives Matter. And I'm always a step ahead of these folks. In fact, sometimes I'm miles ahead. So I knew Black Lives Matter had no traction on social media or anywhere else in the world. I knew that African Americans at 67% were against the idea of the Black Lives Matter movement. I knew that up front in separate polling data that nobody would cite. And then, thankfully, we found out through internal emails because of that hack that happened with North Korea, or allegedly North Korea, that Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook was getting his staff internally to blow up Black Lives Matter's presence on their platform. They were expanding their reach in an artificial way to at least give the impression that they were this political powerhouse, forcing others to follow suit, especially those with money. They started getting money from the Ford Group and everyone else for that matter. And that was all manufactured. And, of course, you know the story. $90 million down the road, 3 or 4 mansions, the whole thing is debunked now. Forget it. It's a lost cause. It's a joke. So I also noticed that was the case with Chris Murphy. No matter where you look, there was a new article about him everywhere. Chris Murphy's here. Chris Murphy's there. Chris Murphy. And, of course, he is doing this thing about punching up. Every day he's on camera on every one of the news networks talking about Donald Trump like he is his equal, like he is on par with Donald Trump. Yet he is not getting any traction from Donald Trump. So I went and looked it up. Just recently, Donald Trump made a statement about Chris Murphy being ugly inside and out. Chris Murphy was so happy. He knows me. See? He knows I'm here. I'm a threat to him. I'm so excited. And I looked it up. I asked Grok, how many times has Donald Trump mentioned Chris Murphy on social media? And again, Jasmine Crockett gets her bones in the news media because she attacks Donald Trump, as does Chris Murphy. It turns out that Chris Murphy has been mentioned on social media by Donald Trump all of 3 times in the last 5 years. 3 times. Twice in 2020 about a alleged unsanctioned trip to Iran. Yeah. Saying that he was in violation of the Logan Act. Twice Donald Trump mentioned it then. And then for the last 4 or 5 years, nada. Until just recently, saying that he was ugly on the inside and out. Donald Trump doesn't even care that this guy's existed. But tomorrow, I'm going to get into much deeper numbers when it comes to Chris Murphy. This is a manufactured campaign, and he is being assisted by the media. This guy is nobody in the political circles. Even Connecticut should stop talking about him. No one cares on a national stage. He's polling at 0.4. That's it. Anyway, we'll get into that. Now, with that, time to get into your phone calls. Let's do that now. Bill's in Torrington. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you, Reese. How about yourself?
I'm trying my best, Bill. What's up?
Last Monday, you had a conversation with Ken from Meriden regarding his frustrations with public education. And as a member of the Board of Education here in Torrington, I can't agree with him more. I'm amazed how much teaching time is dedicated to prepping the students for standardized testing, which I'm not a fan of to begin with, because I don't think they're the end all be all of a student's performance.
Because you think that they're doing, and I've heard this complained often. Tell me if you agree that it's sort of teaching to the test instead of actual learning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, also, he was talking about distractions. If I remember correctly, his wife is an educator.
Yes.
And she's absolutely right. Here in Torrington, the average class size is 22 students, and so there are a couple of classes that are larger. Our biggest component is our English language learning students. There are many different languages being spoken here in Torrington. The one good thing, because he was also talking about distractions, is we have a no cell phone policy. When the kids come into school, they put their cell phone in.
Has that been working, Bill? Has that been working? Okay. Well, let me ask you this. I've got my problems with that, but that's another issue. But let me ask you this, because I thought this was interesting. So just recently I was looking at some other polling data, actually some other stats that had to do with education. And what I'm learning is that homeschooling is at best about 5 hours a day. And those kids are doing incredibly well academically, where we have an entire school day and those children are doing so poor. Do you have any opinion on why school children, regular school children, are suffering, aside from the English as English as a second language? Do you think it has everything to do with the care? Like homeschooling only deals with, if you're lucky, maybe 3 kids, sometimes 2, if not 1. But the special attention that each child gets, and those kids tend to excel because they don't have a classroom full of children. Is the classroom size a key point in all of this?
Absolutely. In my own case, being able to go to a school with a small class size, I went to the Oak Hill School for the Blind for junior high school and high school, and the fact that the class size is much lower. Each kid can get more gets
special attention or get much needed, right?
And is able to thrive. I did much better having gone to Oak Hill than I ever could have if I'd stayed in the public school in Winstead where I grew up.
Bill, if I may ask real quick before I let you go, do you always talk this fast? You're pretty fast.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've been told when I first started in radio, Bill, I was told, I think my first real radio job, I was told, can you slow it down a little bit? I went a mile a minute. So I noticed that you talk real fast, but that's okay. I got it all in.
I was told the same thing. I worked in college radio, and then when I was lecturing at Northwestern Connecticut, there were people in the class who were deaf, and after about my first 2 sentences, the interpreter tapped me on the shoulder and says, "I need you to do me a favor. I need you to slow down. The fingers don't move that fast."
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate you. Thank you for being a good sport. Thank you, man.
Come to Torrington, my friend.
You got it. I definitely will. Let's go to Chip in Coventry. Hello, Chip.
Professor Reese, how you doing? It's another day above 6 feet. It's a great day in America.
That's right, okay. Chip. What do you got?
Real quickly, I know we are pressed for time here. I had 2 quick topics, really quick. As far as the Holocaust goes and blah, 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 there's a great movie, but yet sad. Schindler's List. It was filmed in black and white.
Sure.
You've seen it. You must have. Okay, so, and that was sad. But it's history. It's very sad history. That's enough about that, because I can only picture myself when I watched that movie.
It's a tough movie to watch.
There. Oh, my God. It's gruesome what they did, but it's unfortunate. Okay, can you explain this to me? Because I'm not really following this Cracker Barrel thing as far as what's the big brouhaha, because and I'm thinking, hear me out real quickly. When I was in high school, this is what I thought this whole Cracker Barrel thing was about. When I was in high school, 75 to 79, some of my black friends would call me Cracker, and I'm thinking, is that what they're? No, I swear to God,
no, you're not wrong. Here's the whole deal. First of all, if that were a problem, they would change the name entirely. I think what they believe is that there are some people in the ether who suggest that the company name, the old white man on a rocking chair in the logo, appears somewhat old school white supremacist down south, Jim Crow era type of marketing. And they've decided that they need to get rid of that and start marketing in a very nouveau way. And they want to get rid of their old school. Tradition is, for them, they are the antithesis of that. And that's why the change is going on. But again, people didn't go there. If they went there for anything, is that they loved the establishment and how it served them and what it represented as an old country store where you could get old country style food. And they've completely destroyed that because there was no segregation happening at the Cracker Barrel. It's a mess, but I don't understand it. I don't understand in the sense of, like I said, they don't want to do business with the American people anymore. And look, they ran the risk, and, maybe they'll learn from it. Maybe they won't. But if they don't want you, you shouldn't want them. I got to move on, though, Chip. I do. Okay. I got to go. I'm sorry, boss man. Let me get Bill in here because he's been on for a while. Bill is in Rocky Hill. You are our last but not least caller today. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing? It's been a while.
Yes, sir.
Two things real quick. Gerrymandering. Illinois, Trump got more than 40% of the vote and got 3 seats. And our lovely Connecticut, he got over 40% of the vote and he got no seats.
Yeah.
So they don't need to be complaining about Texas. And I listen every morning, and I don't care how he said it. I listen every day.
Okay.
And he made it sound like they're just scooping him up with no excuse, in my opinion.
Well, I listened to it, and that was I think that was what he said. And he was cautionary about that. But I'm going to play it tomorrow so that everybody can hear it, for those of you who don't listen to it. And then we'll parse it. We'll break it down to exactly what he's talking about, because his concern is like a lot of people in Connecticut. And even the mayor of Newington, John Trister, he is of like mind with Brian Shackman. He agrees like he does that what's happening is tantamount to Nazi Germany. I don't know where they get that from, but we'll break it down.
They have no information, so they're saying that ICE has no information, and they're just picking people up.
I know. Fair. Like I said, it was the same argument that I had with John Trister's office. You can't say that you're deeply concerned about something you know nothing about. So,
correct.
Thank you, sir, and we appreciate you. We have got to get up out of here. It is time for us to go. But like I said, we'll play it. We'll break it down. I'm going to send Brian an email in a minute and let him know that we're talking about it, so he doesn't think that I'm not beating up on the guy. But we'll break it down. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. Bob Larson's got your weather. And Mark Christopher, he's getting you home. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Good night, sir.
Good night, Reese. If you're heading westbound 84 into Hartford, you got some slow traffic approaching the Boakview Bridge out to 45 flat.
All right.
All righty, sir.
Southbound 81, you'll lose a little speed down by exit 28. Hartford weather.
Yep, it's going down.
Easy ride, crumble up in a winter.
It's not going down. Not going to beat up on the guy. Anyway. I will see you mañana. Hey, by the way, I don't know if you heard the beginning.
Waterbury, 84 westbound,
we got approved for a place.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, we might be coming in early.
New York, Connecticut line to 5.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
In Denver,
I will talk to you later. See you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Hey, by the way, the message that you had sent me about, were those just people you were hanging out with or listening to the show?
Hey, don't worry about all that, brother.
Oh, come on.
Don't worry about all that, man.
WTIC News
Talk to you tomorrow.
Pete.
All right, folks. Like I said, I'm going to play it tomorrow. I'm going to play it tomorrow. I'm going to let you hear it. Poor Steve. Steve, you are... Steve, make sure, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, make sure that you and I meet the next time I get out there. It sucks that we didn't get to meet this time. I love you. I'm not going to lie. You are right. If this were Tim, Don, or Bob, I don't work with them. I got to work with the guy. You don't want me to start a war with him. I don't even feel like what he said was war startable. I disagree with him. I could disagree with him, but I think you need to hear the whole thing so I can break it down. He said about it. You're a cold dude. But please make sure that we get together. I want to hang out with you. We'll holler. We'll talk about it. Craig, hey, 38,000 feet, huh? Damn. Craig, get on the ground. Get on the ground. Show content is always spot on. I try to, Lori. All right, I love you guys. Be good. We'll see you mañana.